You don't want to just scream into the void?
I mean, I am. That is what we're doing, but you know. You have to let people know you're screaming into the void is the thing.
Ah, I see.
That way the thing between stars knows you're praying to it and offering sacrifices.
Yes.
That's generally only some people that have sanity scores have to worry about.
Well, everyone has a sanity score. You just don't know where yours is yet.
I thought the rest of us haven't had it rolled yet.
Oh, you haven't had it rolled yet.
Yeah.
That is something I would say, though.
And
We have one.
I don't
It's
know
just
what
no
mine
one knows
is
what
yet,
it is.
right?
Yeah.
You have one, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
The rest of us, except for you and the bear, it's indeterminate.
Even the GM doesn't know. Even the ref doesn't know what your number is. Like, it could be high, could be low. We'll find out.
Yeah, right up until we find the abominable eldritch horror that you have hiding for us somewhere.
I like how there's a description. Watch, comma, cool. Oh yeah, I'm taking that one.
A cool watch.
That is a cool watch.
Oh, hey, this is Traveler. I would check that doesn't mean it's like operating in cold environments.
Oh,
Because it
let me
might mean that.
let me see real quick. Watch,
Is there a,
cool.
is there a
Non-military
watch,
time-
hot next to it?
Non-military timepiece with stats like the typical watch, but if not wearing cool sunglasses, wearing a cool watch improves perceived social standing or charisma +1, and grants +1 on carousing task. It really is a cool watch.
It's like, oh, dude, I want to hang out with this dude because he has a space Rolex.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd like to be in the presence of a guy who has a Rolex.
He has a space Rolex that we could steal.
Yeah.
There's the other reason, yeah.
The two reasons.
Hello, everybody. This is Electric Metropolis Video Game Tour, and we're playing Episode 1 of our Travelers of Galatine in the Traveler 5 role-playing game system by Mark Miller. And oh dear God, do we not know what we're doing, but don't worry, we probably won't die this session. So we're going to get straight into it and get you to meeting each other in this year of the Imperial Reckoning 1111. Let's find out. If I can move you over there, that'd be great, because you probably need to see what's going on.
That'd be nice.
So as shown before, this is the Third Imperium. Boldly going forward because we can't find reverse. Hello, author. So this is, of course, the Darien, Sword World, and Lunian subsectors, which spread the diversity of the Darien Confederation, the Sword World Confederation, the Border World Confederation, and the Third Imperium of mankind. And let's see. It is 1111 of Imperial Reckoning of the Third Imperium. The Third Imperium is in its height of its golden age, enjoying the rulership of Emperor Strephon Ella Alkolokoi. Long may he reign. It has been a full year since the armistice ended the Fifth Frontier War between the Jordani Consulate and the Third Imperium. With a return to status quo de jure, but de facto, the Sword Worlds Confederation have lost many of its worlds to become a new imperial client state formed in the aftermath. A year of post-bellum in the Swordward Marches sector has seen a dynamic shift of recovery, renewal, and opportunity for many a traveler to benefit from. Not the least of which, the lifting of the sector-wide amber status by the Travelers' Aid Society. Between the interests of the Mentalist Jordani, the Imperials with their Darien Confederation allies, seeking to uphold their self-appointed warrant of restoration, and the fiercely independent Sword Worlders, the will of humanity is made manifest in courts of high pageantry, to respectable private courts of TAS member lounges, to courts low and dark of spacer bars. Among the million stars, the agricultural world of Beater enjoys rich trade by 3 trade routes: shirt-sleeve atmosphere under a yellow sun and thick tropical climate, and a peace that has stood for a full year. This world, once known as Galatine, is decorated by fertile and vast farmlands, beautified by its capital jewel of the island city of Kersburg, and steeled by its downport, Hallenport, with its sister naval highport, with the entrenched might and power of the Imperial Navy and Army. Rumored to be in consideration for replacing the world of Sting to be designated as capital of the Border World's client state within the Sword World subsector, great interest from many courts high and low have been drawn to this place of promised prosperity and peace. It is at a spacer bar, the Lone Star, within the confines of Hallenport, that we encounter travelers from near and far gathering together. What mark upon history they shall make, the riches they may gather, and the navigation of competing wills of humanity rests upon but two things: their roguish, varied experiences, and their adventurous spirits to travel farther and risk more than anyone else. Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throng. Wrong empire? Wrong empire, yes. Wrong empire indeed, chat.
I mean, they kind of do the same thing with psychic people.
No, they do not.
Excuse you, I
Death
can't.
is the only option.
I can't open a hole into hell with my mind. There is a difference.
Well, I mean, not with that attitude.
I wonder what this emperor would pay for a good psyker.
Hey.
So, we are in the spacer bar, and these four individuals have met each other. Who are these four travelers who are sharing a table together?
Who do you want to start with?
I was gonna say.
Let's start with the bear.
Yeah.
The bear.
You would, wouldn't you? It's only natural.
He is the most interesting.
Assuming
Yeah.
the bear wants to talk to us.
Yes,
It's
yes.
on hibernation.
Sorry, this is Carbon Arctos. He was actually born and grew up on Capitol at the heart of the Third Empire. That is the capital world. There was obviously a very small community of the Ursa there. He is of the brown Ursa stock, which means his geneared roots go all the way back to grizzly bears of Terra. He is descended from the Ursa who fled the Soleimani Rim for what at the time were probably unclaimed depths of space, and now are kind of toward there's a population of them in the coreward edge of the main empire, and their home world is in the right on the far trailing edge of the empire in the lay sector. The other worlds are in the corridor sector. But he's from the capital. So he spent most of his career in the Imperial Interstellar Scout Service as an explorer. Most of his time was in the Corward expeditions, where the Imperial Scouts were trying to play catch up with the Jordani Scout Service and heading for the core. When the Jordani attacked the Third Imperium, however, the Imperial Navy was in need of skilled engineers, which was some of the skills he picked up in his scout service, because if you're in a one-man scout boat, or a one-bear scout boat, you have to know how to fix things when they go wrong. So he spent the 4 years of the war as an engineer aboard an Imperial naval vessel, and saw action in the Sword Worlds sector. And then once the war was over, he did well in service and got promoted a medal or two. Then once the war was over, he mustered out, and between his gains as a scout and the Navy, he's now fairly well set up. But that's sure to end soon, since he has some ship shares and is looking to outfit a ship for his post-service life.
Any special equipment to note that you'd be walking around with beyond your just normal clothing?
No, I mean, honestly, Ursa don't really wear clothes too much all that often because bear.
Yeah.
So he's not carrying any weapons beyond those that he has naturally. Probably something like a cloak and some belt pouches, bandolier pouches, kind of things. I mean, I don't think he'd be walking around the TAS hotel with his vac suit on or anything. So nothing unusual, really, as far as the usual look of an Ursa.
And what social standing would you say you're dressed as? How well dressed is this, or how well put together is Tarbin?
Well, he's most definitely a gentle bear. He's a gentle Ursa. He's not a member of the nobility, but he has 3 land grants, and he's kind of
so
he
middle
knows
upper class.
Yeah, I mean he's a
Okay.
gentleman level is what the game would call him.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a noble, but definitely of the respected and knows kind of how to handle himself and
We know how to be around nobles for sure.
yeah. He's a
Right.
prosperous sort of bear.
And next up, our professor.
The professor, his name, as you have found out, is Calvir Trusani. He is of the Villani stock, from a small pre-agricultural world called Alel. It's not a big world, but it is a rich world with a very famous university, to which the professor himself actually went for a whole 12 years, if I'm not mistaken, to obtain his title of professorship. He majored in biology, and he picked up a couple of other majors and minors during his years at the university. However, when it was time for him to choose a career, he decided he wanted to go into into being a scholar. When they asked him if he had a degree in theoretical biology, he said, "I have a theoretical degree in biology," and they said, "Welcome aboard." He taught at the university, at the academy at Mercury, of all places, and he even had a course for the Marines stationed at Mercury. His papers, however, took him to very dangerous places, which is why this sort of aged man doesn't display his age that well, because all those years trudging around in very dangerous space trying to gather research have made him, well, how do you say it?
Worn?
Tough and worn. Yeah, sure. Let's put it like that. He wears a nice, cool suit. Carries a briefcase in which you assume he stores his papers, and he has a nice, cool watch on his hand.
Next
What was
up,
the focus of your paper again?
It was the influence. Let me get my notebook real quick. I think it was something to do with Asgard. It definitely was something to do with Asgard. 1 second. I have it right here.
Oh yeah, the radioactive, like red zone world. Yeah.
The impact of data from Asgard on biology.
Which is
Therefore,
not good.
Does Asgard make people violent, or do people make people violent? We shall hopefully know soon.
next up is the Jordani at the table.
Yes. So, this is Baronet Ibli Fatal. He is Jordani by birth and by raise. He was born and raised on the planet Jablinishov. I apologize for everybody listening to this alongside us. The Jordani have words that are just keyboard smashes, occasionally with vowels. I'm going to stumble over all of this, and I chose this on purpose. Apparently, I just, I'm a glutton for punishment. Anyways, so, yes, he's probably I know he's the youngest at the table. He's only 26. Because after, being born and raised a nobleman's son, which does mean that he does in fact have psionic training, he probably has not mentioned that, because you don't say that in a spacer bar as a Jordani. he's smart enough not to do that, but yeah, he did have psionic training. His family owned a company. It was called the Jebel Ayek. They traded in gravitics, so he has a little bit of knowledge in that. And then after he reached the age of 18, he attended the Jebel Ebek Institute for Linguistics for 2 years, picked up quite a few languages. He also attended for 1 year to learn a little bit more about Scientology. Then he went straight into the wonderful, wonderful world of politics and politicking, with the goal to accumulate a substantial fortune. Whatever substantial means, it's all relative, but substantial fortune. And he worked in the Domain Committee for Frontier Security. And he was engaged in a little bit of intrigue with the judgment against Ek Kraplons. I will text that to you, Corby. But yes, he as a result of that, he came out of it. Well, basically, he was focusing a lot on helping out with the war and army procurements and whatnot. And then the war ended, so they no longer needed his services. So he served a term as a noble, and now he's out doing traveler stuff. But he came away with it, with a few. He's got 4 proxy votes that he currently just uses to sustain himself in his life. And you would notice that he is very much typical Jodani noble. Over 6 foot tall. The picture I have for his token does not do it justice, but I could not be bothered to spend hours tracking one down that matched it exactly. But he is very much the typical Jodani, over 6 feet tall, swarthy complexion, darker hair, and he is wearing a nobleman's clothes and also has the typical turban, which they use to make themselves appear ever so taller.
And of course, the proud veteran of the losing side of the war, the only losing side of the Fifth Frontier War.
It hurts more when you turn the knife. Remind me, did you say we were on the station or on the planet?
You're in the low port. You wouldn't be in the naval base right now. You'd be in the starport on the planet at Hallenport.
Okay, so laws apply.
You're not out of the starport yet, so you could have your weapons on you.
Okay, okay. The sword wielder present is Hervor Agentir's daughter, who is from this world of Beater. The daughter of the 5th wife of Agentir, a homesteader of moderate wealth and influence, realizing that her father's influence and wealth would all go to older half-siblings and siblings. She decided to sign up, hopefully to attend a military academy, because a term in a military academy and a term as an officer could gain you a lot of wealth and respect, enough to become a farmer. Unfortunately, she wasted 4 years being rejected by every institution of higher education on Beater. Finally giving in and settling for attending a trade school, the certified blades course set up by the government for teaching young sword wielders historic martial arts. After that, she decided with those skills, a term in the Marines, if she survived, you could probably get some respect and money from that, enough to at least part own a farm. Unfortunately, she spent the first term helping to put down a revolt caused by Susag on Beater, which got her nearly killed by another Sword World homesteader who ran her through with a sword, because Sword Worlders don't really know how to not use bladed weapons. After that, she spent that term and the next few terms constantly either in minor skirmishes with the Imperium or in A&M schools, which, you know, constantly not being in combat means constantly getting paid less for a Marine. So eventually, after making Sergeant, she kind of gave up and decided to have any chance at making money, she was just going to have to stick with being a Marine for a while, because it turns out being a Marine is not a good way to make money.
No matter what the recruiters tell you.
Yeah. In her fourth term, she scouted out an Imperial naval base, in case, you know, just in case there's ever a war. Like, there's not going to be one, but just in case. And then spent the next year trying to escape from Imperial space, and keeping her people alive in that time got her an officer's commission. And since then, she served one more term before the war started, again beating up other Sword Worlders for Susag and their profit margins. And her last term was spent during the war, where for the first half of the term she was killing Imperials and making having a jolly good time conquering Imperial worlds and generally making a mess of Imperial space, and then spent the last 2 years trying to keep the Imperials from doing the same thing to the Sword Worlds and not really succeeding. And then since the wars ended, she was sent to a command college to perhaps become an officer of field rank, but it's kind of hard to go to command college while your home planet is being occupied and stolen. So she failed out of that and has now decided to become a traveler. I think she has a mesh jacket and pants, heavy boots, and a couple of pouches of magazines and a small portable toolkit, and a machine pistol tucked in the belt. Oh, and a space axe, but everything else is somewhere else.
Together you sit in relatively in the same social strata. All of you are all of the upper class, or if not upper class in nobility, upper class in achievement and social standing. Because I believe even the major's actually is probably the most.
Yeah, like middle class at best, and like homesteader farmer middle class. So
the major's the only one here who's probably like, who's dressed a little more like most people, whereas the other three are dressed a little more well-to-do. But hey, spacer bars care that you have credits, and they care that you aren't causing problems. Starport's Lone Star bars are pretty inclusive that way. So the four of you meet.
Oh.
And have at least some inkling, if not spoken explicitly, then implicitly, given that you're in a spacer bar, and none of you look like the sort of people who would normally be in a spacer bar, that means you probably are either going to travel, you either are a traveler or Darablar in the Valani, or you want to talk to a traveler to get them to do something. Actually, three of you look like patrons that would hire travelers.
No. I don't know how much money I don't have.
I might actually hire him to hire me. So do we have a, like, why do I think I should start traveling with a bear? Like, do we have something already in common, or?
Well, it depends how much of your story you would have shared with each other. Because sometimes travelers or people who are beginning to become travelers might share their stories and just give a background as to this is why you should work with me, or you're trying to sell. Because normally travelers don't travel solo. You usually travel with a group.
Okay, so that's enough. We came here looking for other travelers to throw our lot ins with.
Yeah, and there's some tables that already have people together, and it's like, yeah, there's no sense joining that table. They know each other, or that's the captain of Free Trader such and such. Yeah, they're all full up, that sort of thing.
There might have been other tables with seats open, but I definitely think people aren't gonna screw with us if we have a bear, because he is imposing. So I'm gonna sit down at this table and just see what's going on. Maybe other tables I'll find someone rich, but like a bear with claws can make you rich.
Fair point.
If they're used effectively.
That is a bear point indeed.
Yes.
Also, most of my skills are in violent things, so I don't really know how to make money other than doing violent things. And bears, they're probably good at violent things.
I mean, I'm okay at violent things. I'm really good at, like, engineering things, like, running starship drives. I can also pilot and, astrogate a little bit.
Oh, and before we get too much further, we, at the start of this session, and this will be the start of every session, we roll for the intuitions. These are the nice little helpful insights, curiosities, and luck that randomly occur from session to session. I would like each of you to roll for me 2d6.
Okay. Is it just straight? We're not adding anything to it?
Just straight.
Okay.
Ooh, snake eyes.
Yeah,
Oh.
right?
What a way to start off.
So, the person who rolled the highest gets what they rolled in insight.
That would be me, I guess.
So for this session, you have a temporary insight stat of 10. Insight is used, you roll your insight when you're like, why don't we try X? Or, I wonder if we should do this. If you roll and you get it, the ref will tell you, your character has an insight. Like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. I don't know, that's a bad idea.
Okay.
The second highest, which goes to the Jordani,
Yep.
gets curiosity of that number. So that's when you're wondering about something, or like an object or in the environment. Usually something like, why is that blank? Why is it like that? And your natural curiosity is like, oh, it'll occur to you. Oh, wait, I get it now. It's like this.
Okay. Cool.
And
so, curiosity sticks.
the person with the lowest
Snake eyes.
gets
Bear.
luck. Gets luck. Because they apparently need it.
That seems legit.
You are naturally lucky for now. When a negative event occurs, you have a chance that it will miss you. Just lucky, you guess. It applies to you. You can't give it to somebody else. If you succeed, if you fail at something, and I'm like, a negative thing's about to happen, you go, luck check. And if your luck check passes, the bad thing doesn't happen to you. You still fail, but a bad thing doesn't happen. You don't break your arm, you don't fall, you just happen to pull out. Now, if you're at like if you're at low digits, like within like, if your score So any one of these scores, in general, any of the intuitions, each time you use it, it goes down by 1. So you can only use it so many times reliably in a session. And then next session we roll them again, see where the numbers fall again, because intuition is very ephemeral that way. Okay. Now, if you have something that's where it's like 6 or lower, like with the luck roll, or if you roll enough that it gets to 6 or lower, you don't check with 2d dice like normal. You roll with 1.
Okay.
So you can. So with the luck, you can on a 1 or 2, you could get luck. It's
30% chance.
Okay.
Same with the Insider Curiosity. Once it gets to like 6, that's when you stop rolling 2d6. Now you're rolling 1d6. Until eventually eventually it's 0, and then it's like, well, it's gone.
I'm no longer curious about the world.
You've exhausted your curiosity.
I wish to learn no more.
Oh, sorry, it's less than 7. I'm wrong. Yeah, that's right. So 6 or lower. I was right the first time. Never mind.
Yeah. Same thing.
Okay.
And the one thing to add, it's per use. So if you use it insight and it whiffs, well, it's still a use. It ticks down.
Okay.
Keep that. Same with luck. So keep that in mind.
Is this going to carry over to the next session, or is it like next session, wipe whatever you had left, and we start over?
Yep. You wipe whatever's left and you start over.
Okay, so use it or lose it. Cool.
Yep.
So, together we definitely have enough ship shares, to buy a ship, at least a free or far trader, with a couple shares left over, if I understand things right.
In fact, with the 4 of us that are present at the moment, we only have 1 extra share.
Okay.
Oh, right, because
Because I assume we'll meet the person with the other share in the future, and we don't know they exist, so.
Mm-hmm. For now, we have 5.
How insightful.
So, yeah, then Herr Vorel ask who all could help get a ship, like who all has the ship shares.
Well, I have been granted one from the academy. Haven't used it yet. Saving it for a rainy day.
My work in the Scouts left me with 3 shares that I could put toward a ship.
I, unfortunately, have not received any ship shares. Perhaps in the future.
Oh, that meta. I was wrong. We do have all the ship shares here. Because we have 6 of them. So, didn't Hervor say... We're unlikely to find anything here that we would need 6 shares for.
That is very true, but there could be work here, and work could point us into more lucrative parts of space. Perhaps. I suggest we maybe ask around, that is, if we are keen on working together, to see if we can find something that'll suit us, so to speak. Who knows?
Someone walks up to your table.
Speak of an opportunity. Hello.
You see a dark-complexioned human walk up, well-dressed, about of the gentle class, as it were. And he is wearing, you see the sunburst and open hands of the Traveler's Aid Society on his left breast, and you see underneath it, media. And it's written out in Anglic and Valani and Zagmal. Sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop. Well, I sort of did. Nice to meet you all. I am Victor I. Perhaps you've heard of me?
Have we heard of him?
Have we heard of him?
Give me a check of intelligence, each of you. So 2d6 normal.
Okay.
You want to roll your number or lower?
I got a hit.
I also got a hit.
As did
I did not.
Those of you recall that, oh yeah, he's that guy who wrote the recent TAS free news service bulletin that came out a couple days ago. And that's the thing that you guys have in your Discord. He's the guy who wrote that. The italics bit at the bottom there. He's also the guy who wrote up the extended briefing as well for TAS members in relation to that report.
This makes sense. I don't read Imperial propaganda. So.
Yeah.
Of course, Mr. I. We have
Yes,
read some of your works, so to speak.
Well, that's good. I was wondering if it was being blacklisted by the Border Worlds or not. Nice to know they managed to... Well, I guess we are in a starport, so it's kind of hard to do that, but...
Well, the free news was interesting, but your member reports was even more so.
Well, we try to make membership worth the money or the contribution you made. That's actually what attracted me to this table. I was actually going to talk with you, Tarbin, but I noticed you kind of were speaking among some people. I wanted to give you a moment. You know, maybe you were looking for work and whatnot, or if you weren't. I kind of overheard the good professor over there mention that he may be looking into things, and I could offer a rather straightforward job here on the planet if you're looking to make a little bit of extra credits and also meet some people that may be helpful to you. So think of it as a paid letter of introduction, an interactive letter of introduction to those here, at least here on Galatia.
Intriguing. What do you have in mind?
Well, I have a package that another traveler has brought here, and that was the job. The job was to bring it here to the planet. I was going to take it around and give out some gifts that the TS were looking to hand out, but you know what? I see a TS member here. We're supposed to look out for each other, and you'll look fairly new to this work, so I figured work. I tend to think of it as tourism, but you can get a bit of work, see some people, talk to some people.
Well, we all just sort of met each other, but what do you guys think? Work's work, I suppose. Could be the start of a beautiful friendship.
I can always use credits. I don't really need to know more people on Glacia. I already know quite a few.
Hey, Corby. There's a psionic talent that lets you tell when people if people are being like sincere, right? Like I thought I read about something.
There's something like that, yeah.
Okay. Would I be able to potentially do that?
Give me 2d6.
Okay. And I need to meet or beat my psi score. No, sorry. Meet or get lower than my psi score, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm looking for a 10 or lower. Huzzah.
You sense that he is incredibly eager and excited to present this to you. If anything, if he's withholding anything, it's because he's trying not to overload you. He's trying not to hard sell you. But there's more he can say. But it's like if you prompted him, he would go on at length. He's restraining himself.
Okay, so he's like genuinely being like, I want to help you out here. This is a good opportunity.
Yeah, this is actually the sort of feeling you don't feel outside the Jordanian consulate. Like, this is sincere, I want to help out my fellow human. Fellow Sophont.
So, what kind of gifts are we talking about?
Well, there's some maps, sports scores that happened in elsewhere in the galaxy. Some copies of some entertainment books, recreational jacks, that sort of thing. It's all labeled for people, so when people enter in a code on the box, it'll display what's supposed to go to them. They're you might not have seen these, Tarbin, but it's a TES gift member box. Since you usually I imagine you usually come to our offices, but if you don't come to our offices often, or you're a member of good standing, we usually send out a little gift package to people to kind of thank them for paying for their membership or contributing to traveler funds, that sort of thing. or if they've just been long-standing patrons. Sometimes we just give it to people, and this is why I kind of want you to meet these people, is that some of these people, if they don't become future patrons for you, the fact that you have worked with the TAS and with a gift package will link you with some level of trustworthiness. I mean, we are a megacorp technically, so some people respond to that sort of thing. And it verifies you, because some of these places you need to go are places that, if I'm not mistaken, I think all 4 of you have unique access to. Like, there's a couple of sword worlders who would want to see a retired major. After all, like you'd have an easier time talking to them than say Ibleftatil over there.
Did he intentionally
Gesundheit.
to say it?
I am sure that Mr. I did not mean anything by this, Baroness. Postal work sounds fun. It's humble beginnings, but beginnings nonetheless.
And how
Use
often
your
are
whole- Go ahead.
carriers of these such gift boxes subject to the attention of nefarious plotters? What's the chance of somebody wanting to take this from us?
On a world like Galatia, not very. The law enforcement here is pretty high. I mean, the most you'll see from your average gangster is a blade or a cudgel. Anyone who's dumb enough to bring out a laser weapon around here is gonna bring down every on-duty and off-duty Marine of the Sword World heritage down on them for daring to break the Hearthfire peace of this world. So, not likely. It's possible. It's always possible. You know, people will do all kinds of stupid things for money. But as for these packages, they're gift packages. You're not going to strike it. Like, if you stole the box and tried to sell it off to somebody, you'd make about the same amount as I'm paying you. Except now you've ticked me off. How much am I paying you? Well, it is. How much is it? Hold on. He takes out a personal data assistant out of his pocket and starts tapping away at a tablet. Let's see. Factoring in travel costs, noting that you might get jumped. Not likely, but you know, let's factor that in anyway. Let's just be fair about it. I'd say, you know, let's round it up a bit. 7,000 each. How's that do you?
7.5, and you got yourself a squad of travelers.
You can attempt to roll with this guy. I am clicking everywhere but where I need to go. There we go. Give me trader plus your intelligence, and you only have to roll 1 die. He's eager to help you, but he's not eager to throw away money.
Okay, trader plus my int. That's a 10 overall.
Yep. So actually, you can waive the roll there. You can't possibly fail.
Yeah.
He hems and haws and taps at the pad. Yeah, sure, I can take the tax hit. Why not? Yeah, let's do 7.5. Why not?
You got yourself a deal, Mr. I.
Oh, just Victor. I'm not important enough to be called Mister yet. Not sure I ever will be. Oh. But that would get me interviews in the moot. Nah.
In any case, the packages, if we may receive them.
Oh yes. Type something up, and then you hear something whirring at his hip, and you see a bit of paper expelling from a mini printer on his hip belt. He waits for it to whir away a little bit, and he tears it off, and he holds it up. He looks at, because he happens to be closest to Hervar and Ilbafatel, and kind of looks between you.
I'm gonna grab it.
He takes it. Yeah, he releases it.
What language is this in?
It is in Anglic.
I give a minor scoff.
And where shall we meet with you for payment once our route is done?
You can just check in with the. You can just turn in the box at the member lounge, and they'll know. They'll hand you the money
Sorry, you were in and out there. Turn to the box at the where?
at the member lounge here at
Okay.
the starport. Once you turn in the box, you can get that. And actually, all four of you can go together at the desk, and they can just exchange it there. So you don't have to bring them into the member lounge for them to get paid, because that's kind of a jerk thing. If any patron makes you do that, maybe get a different patron, because that's just rude, frankly.
We'll get in touch with you as soon as this is over.
Certainly. Have a pleasant day, everyone.
Yes, goodbye.
Johnny, hey! And he starts talking with another table, like, and there's a look of, oh no. What, Victor? Oh, come on!
I would like to look over this list and see how long it would take to complete. In days.
Yeah, it was on the list.
So there are 6 locations on the list. And let me get my notes properly. Not that one, this one. Oh, roll 20. There you go. One location is the Imperial Naval Base in orbit. Another is at a Border World government office in the city of Karasbog. The third location is a rather remote Aesir Temple of Luck. The fourth location is actually the Jordani Free Trader Compass Rose here in Dock. The fifth location is the Darien Confederation Diplomatic Offices at the Imperial Army Base. The ground one, not the high port one. Actually, no, I'm wrong. That would be the Border Worlds Army Base now. That would have changed hands.
Which I assume is close to Kiersbog.
It's not in the city, but it's nearby, yeah, to help defend the city.
So, looking over this, most of this could probably be done in a single day because it's either at the port or within a few miles of the city.
The only weird one, actually, rolling flux to see how lucky you are. Give me, as you look at the third location is the one you're kind of hemming at. You're not sure exactly how far that is. Like you see location, and off the top, actually, you can give me a beater world knowledge roll.
So that would be plus intelligence.
Be intelligence or education, I think. Intelligence makes more sense.
Yeah, there was something in the book about whether if you weren't sure, you could do some formula of like, or no, it was like, if you're not sure, but you can use intelligence in the place of education at half value and vice versa. I think it was something like that. Because it was like, it specifically called out that there might be times when you're confused about which one to use.
We could do it that way. It's well, actually, it's like it's instinct, is what because that's probably what they're talking about. Because half of instinct is equal to your education. Because it's like instinct, training, and education are all all share the same characteristic slot. So you could on instinct just off the back of your hand just go, I might just know this. But yeah, no, I would use intelligence here.
All right, that's best for me, anyways. So. 2d6 under world knowledge plus intelligence?
Yep.
I can't fail. That would be a 14.
Okay, so now to tell you where this is, I have to pull up my world map because it's not right next door. It's actually a little distance away. And now to use the random powers of Traveler to figure out where the heck this is. I didn't need to map it. Actually, I didn't know you were looking it up. Or that someone would know. But that's the fun of it. That's the idea of this game, is being able to roll stuff as you need it, when you need it. Scroll. So So I need this. I roll 2d6.
Normally, I wouldn't be that interested, except that there's a very specific reason that I need to know if something takes longer than 3 days to accomplish.
What was the second place? There's naval base and something, then the Azir Temple of Luck.
So I want to say there's an army base outside of the city, something at the high port, something at the low port, and 2 other things in the city. Inside the city, I think.
Well, there was the naval base, the Azir Temple, the Free Trader, and then the diplomatic office from Darien at the army base.
So the temple that's being talked about is across. So the city of Kersbag is in the northern one of the northernmost continents. The temple is across the ocean by like it's within your. It's about how far? 1, 2, 3, like 3,000 miles across the ocean in the mountains.
So we're gonna have to charter travel.
Yeah.
Well, one of them was in orbit, right? So we were gonna charter travel for that one too.
It's in, but the 2 places are like the free port and the naval base, which I imagine travel to those from the low port is like really easy to accomplish.
True.
Like you probably just go to the designated area and buy a ticket, but chartering a plate, I imagine it's more complicated to charter something to this remote.
You'd have to
monastery.
rent a vehicle, yeah, to go there because it's not a settlement you're going to. There is according to your knowledge, and the answer to Chat's question, how do you determine the number of dice? More dice gives more risk. Yeah, so hard checks are 3, normal checks are 2, easy checks are 1. There are half dice, but they suggest not to do that terribly often because it's rare for it to be that. But we'll see. Ref's discretion at that point. Well, a lot of things in travel are ref's discretion, but where's my map? I was staring it in the face and I lost it. I blame the sword roller. It's your fault.
Ah.
Just like the war.
There's another name on the list.
The ref, come at me.
Hang on, there's a list?
There's always lists.
Okay, so unfortunately, at the moment, the list just says literally all Imperials.
I can't believe you're not mad at the Giordani. They're the ones who dicked you over, ultimately.
There is the nearest settlement is various underwater and above ground mines in a nearby province, but you could in theory go to get to the mining settlements there and then drive the rest of the way into the mountains, or you could grab straight to the mountains.
We probably want to grab, unless we might be thinking about some kind of like bulk cargo trading, then stopping over in a mining town for a day could be fruitful. But
well,
if nothing else, just to learn about the local market.
It might also be worth splitting up. I mean, honestly, the Bear as an ex-naval officer, is going to be able to, move into and through the naval base more easily just from knowing all the Navy stuff. The sword worlder is going to know more about Azir temples and how not to,
do the wrong thing and get stabbed.
Offend somebody. Again, I'm missing
We call
one
that
of
a
the 5
faux pas.
places. GM, what one of the 5 places am I meeting?
Can you just list the 5 places in the Discord?
Sure, I can.
Yeah.
Let me grab those from the notes there. Boop. Scroll. Copy. Boop. 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 Take out the extra information that's for me. Tick, 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 tick.
Ambush at this one. Naval base in orbit. Zodani free trader. Daring Confederacy diplomatic offices. Oh,
Oh.
there's a megacore office branch.
Oh, I
You have a relationship with the evil corporation.
no. I have a relationship in the same way with them, in the same way that like what's his name, the Smedley Butler had a relationship with Standard Oil.
Oh no.
Yeah, as in I've killed people for their profit margins. They don't send me a greeting card. Um,
Hmm.
that being said, like I have dealt with them before, so I imagine that if no one else has any reason why they would be good at that, then I could. But also, if we're tapping me to go to the Sword World Temple, then like I probably need to just do that.
Yeah.
Well,
I could
and I
do
don't-
something. I'm pretty neutral when it comes to everything.
so
Just a famous guy.
Also, I'm likely to start a diplomatic incident at either the naval base or the imperial or the army
Right,
base.
right.
So,
Yes.
Before
So-
we begin, let me tell you all some of the information I've been given as a TAS member. Keep
Oh,
in
yes.
mind that all of this is largely based on rumors and somewhat unconfirmed, but with this particular round of visits, there might be a chance to obtain more information. It appears that there is a Jordani cult known as the Church of the Great Whoozy Watsits of Magatil or something. It's Magatil for sure. Their emblem is a human in robes with a right arm raised holding a scepter. Apparently, they have a mad-on for the Azer faith and are having some success in the border worlds. And the bear's kind of like lowering his voice and leaning in to kind of keep this more of a private kind of thing than just
Mhm.
talking at his normal level.
Maybe Go ahead.
Most interesting.
They have this belief that representatives of government officials are embodiments of the will of the people or something. In any event, they're the government of the New Border Worlds Confederation, or whatever this place is called now. It's not exactly openly for them, but there's some suspicion that they're getting some help. It helps that they also offer lifetime pensions for former government employees, but it almost smells to me like government-sponsored religious takeover, and they're having a fair amount of success in the Azer worlds to the point of burning temples. I'm talking about, not peaceful street protests, and they seem to be relatively getting away with it. Something that you might smell around for some more information, whoever visits the temple. Husag. Go ahead.
Oh, you still had more to fill us in on?
Oh, yeah. Susag has its fingers in everything out here. They are tremendously interested in the border worlds. Maybe considering moving their headquarters here. There we are. They appear to have found or developed new technologies from what's being called ruins of various settlements in this region. They also there's rumors that they are pushing the Sword Worlds into an attack on the Darien, the Darien Confederation.
Confederacy. Yeah.
Yeah. While simultaneously pushing the Darians to make a spinward push into unrestricted space. It seems, and again, all rumors, it seems that while the Darians have heard rumors of this, that Susag is also playing the other end of things, telling the Darians there's no reason to waste time fighting sword worlders when there's all this untold wealth lying spinward. Of particular interest is what is that sector? The Dorian subsector. GM, could you bring up that map to make my talk a little easier? Sector map, yeah. Here. Anselholm there's been a military and academic buildup in this system. Supposedly there was a Jordani forward base in the area. There's an entire continent on the primary world that has been sealed off for supposed military exercises. It seems to me that Susag is very interested in this particular corner of things. If they are pushing the Sword Worlds to attack the Dorians and have interest here, thinking this would be their area of operation and interest. There's a lot going on here. Security is also very, very high.
Yeah, they do seem to be, if they're encouraging the Darians spinward, they're saying, hey, look the other way. And they're encouraging the sword wielders to, hey, also move spinward.
Sword wielders may be hungry for a victory after their recent loss. But intriguingly, alongside the religious movement within the border worlds, there are also rumors that the border worlds government is about to impose a reign of taxes and tariffs that would almost break off trade with the empire completely, which is an odd choice politically, it seems to me.
Aren't they a client state?
It could be in a move to try and move closer to the sword worlds with the eye of eventual reincorporation. It could be that this is further manipulation by someone. I don't know, but everywhere I read lately, it's Susag's name is coming up.
So I'm thinking, right, Tarbin, you can handle the naval base and the army base, and since it's right around the corner, the Compass Rose.
I might want to handle the Compass Rose. They are my people
Okay.
after all.
Well, that sounds like a most reasonable proposal. Your people will take the most kindly to you, although I imagine there won't be much trouble with handing off packages.
What was it in the capital island that we needed to visit?
Capital Island is where the Sword World Temple is, isn't it?
No.
No, the border
Oh, wait.
world city of Kurzbog.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what's there?
Where do we need to go in Kurzbog?
The city hall.
Oh,
And if you will share your comm codes with me, I will share the full reports of what I've told you with you.
I will do so.
Oh, no,
I will also do so.
GM, so you can make that available to him in the Roll20.
So in handouts, there's going to be... You're going to see something appear. Should be able to see it now. TAS member news 118-1111.
ah, yeah, there it is.
And Jim, so I know where the temple is. Do I know how long if I chartered a straight jump there, how long that would take? Yeah.
It would. Let me find out for you. It's not hideously expensive because you're just moving around on a planet, so that's usually not especially on a well-established planet. So there's like airports and graph ports and private stuff like this. Like, yeah, Galatia is a very established planet, even before the war. All right, good, really good table. I'll cover what I'm looking for. Yep, there we go. So. Current market rate right now, you're looking at. There's actually a big sale going on right now to celebrate Foundation Day for the Border Worlds. So it's like the government subsidizing people flying around and stuff on planet. See the sights of Galatia. See the historic places.
You skipped out on the price.
Oh, I did. I was just talking. I was leading up to it.
Oh, okay.
It's called burying the lead. No, it would only cost you a grand total of 16 credits.
Oh, wow.
Heavily subsidized by the government.
All right. And how long would it take?
Probably about 2 hours on Grav.
Oh, okay, no problem. As long as it takes less than 3 days.
Oh, yeah, definitely less than 3 days. Definitely. Like, on a plane, it would take you 12 hours. Like, on an aeroplane. If you wanted to go retro.
And, does the law say anything about the various levels of armor? Or is it just...
Guns are what they care
projectile
about,
weapons?
generally.
Okay.
Projectile weapons are what they care about. Because at the end of the day, if you have nice enough armor and you cause trouble, that just tells them what level of military they need to bring down on you.
Yeah. Oh, then I might take Susag as well. Because I might... Like, it might not get me anything, but maybe having... I don't know, maybe I met some agent a decade ago who's actually worked his way up in the company by now. Like, he was nobody 20, 30 years ago when I met him, but he might be somebody now.
Well, and you might be able to...
Or they might be dead. Who knows?
Hint that maybe having, fought for them before, and at this point you wouldn't necessarily be close to...
Yeah, you remember 1082, your Q1 profits? Like, that was mostly me.
Might be a way to gain some information. So.
Like, all of those peasants, they were gone. Like, I did that for you.
That problem you had that suddenly and violently disappeared.
So who's going to Kurzbach?
GM, I have a question. I don't know if it's something to do with my instinct, perhaps. Oh, sorry, insight. Is it a good idea to split off? If we're a freshly founded traveler group, wouldn't it be wise to just all go together?
I won't make you use your insight over that. It is well, you can use your insight to be sure, but I'll say as a new to traveler player, unless you expect a really difficult social roll or a combat, splitting up to cover more ground and cover multiple checks is fairly effective. But if you think you're going to have a really hard social roll, or you're going to get into a shootout with beasties or people, you really need to stick together, because that's how you. Or alternatively, if you're on a dangerous world, like if the air is dangerous or the terrain's dangerous, then you want to stick together to help each other out.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Kurzbog I can handle, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's the only one left, right? So
Anybody?
Well, no, I imagined that there's going to be some doubling up. I was just putting at least one person per thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody have any particular? Anybody got any experience with diplomacy or bureaucracy kind of things?
I
Administration, whatever it's called?
am working on it, but yes, I have been involved in such matters before.
It might be that you would be good to also visit the diplomatic offices at the army base.
I can also attempt, yes.
Yeah, and you've given you've taught classes to military types before, so they should be fine with you.
Then
True.
maybe, just thinking about it along that lines, maybe we group up Tarbin and Calvir, and then Hervor and Ibefalitat.
Okay.
Whatever.
To be fair, Baronet, I taught the birds and the bees to the Marines. Very different from
Yeah.
actual military staff, you understand.
I see.
Is he? You're speaking Imperial?
Anglic?
You're speaking Anglic?
Yeah.
Alright, then I'm just gonna say that Hervor thinks you're literally saying you taught them about avians and insects.
Something along those lines. You're not quite far off from the truth.
Yes.
But
Okay, so then-
let me ask a question before we set off. Actually,
Yes.
Major Herver, you won't have a problem, I hope, working with myself, who is an Imperial citizen, and working with other Imperials, will you?
Are you
Mind you,
personally
I-
trying to annex the Sword Worlds?
I had no business in this. I
Then
was a
I don't
researcher.
have a problem with you.
Yes, and our possible future employers.
If they're actively trying to annex the Sword Worlds, then perhaps. But if they're only involved here in business matters, or they have other Imperial business outside of the Border Worlds, then working with Imperials is not the problem. Working with those actively trying to annex Sword Worlds would be.
I understand. Just all right, madam. We shall return to this topic another day, when perhaps the smell of money may convince you otherwise.
I'm definitely never going to accept money to sell the Sword Worlds. That's not possible.
Okay,
But yeah.
so
It looks like Colvir and Tarbin are doing the naval base, the city,
and the diplomatic
the
offices.
army base, and you and Hervor
Yeah,
and,
I typed it out.
and yeah, Ibiflatl.
Ibaflat.
Iblif. Because Adel is actually his title.
Ibfilatel.
But
What?
Iblifatul.
Ibifalat.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
Ibfilat.
What happens when you knock an Ibib over?
Ibiflat.
Ibiflat.
Gesundheit.
Ibiflat. Okay. And Ibiflat will be taking the other three. So yeah.
Yes.
A Biffalat is a Eldritch Horror, I think.
So
There's not going to be a problem with a. This is me, the player, asking. There's not going to be a problem with a Zodani walking into an Azer temple, is there?
You can stand outside while I go in.
Sounds like
You don't have to come along.
That's probably for the best. Yes. I think
You
I'll
can
stand
stay out.
outside.
You can stay out in the car, or
Actually-
you can just not go.
you can give me the Baronet can give me 3d6 education.
Oh boy. Oh no. That is a.
Is there any way I can help him with this?
When you assist somebody, I forget what happens when you assist somebody. It's been forever and a day.
Okay, because my education is currently a 6, so I'd have to roll 3
Because
2s or
I'm
lower.
much more likely to know the answer to this question than he is.
Yeah.
Whoop, I just got it. I just found it. There.
Or even better, could we just have Hervor do the
Yeah, you
roll
don't have to
because
go.
they're the ones who would know?
Herford could do it with, as a world knowledge. They would know whether that temple has a problem with you or not. Because Aesir faith is complicated, so.
Oh.
But Hervor would know as a person who is familiar with the Aesir faith, 'cause it's the faith of the Sword Worlds. And that would just be a 2d6 for you. It's an extra d6 because if
2d6 on what roll?
It'd be, in this case, it's education. It'd be education plus your world knowledge on 2d6. It's a this is hard roll would be for the Baronet because it's like you don't have the relevant skill required, so normally it's not possible, but I'll let it go on 3d6.
Well, that's the roll I needed.
Brilliant.
I have a 7 and a 4, which is 11, so just squeaked right under.
You're not a practicing priestess or shamaness or wise woman, but you're familiar with the Aesir faiths, and actually, not all in the Aesir faith are the grand warriors that defeated the Titans, sort of thing. Not all of them are Thor and so on. Some of them are, especially in this modern age, are humans who have proven themselves for the good of the Sword Worlds, of the Zog and protected the Hearthfires and so on. Some of them aren't even human. It's rare. Most people don't know this, and even some Sword Worlders don't know it because it's fairly vague. It's very obscure. But you think about this temple. You've never been to it, but you think about it a bit. And you recall that this particular temple is actually one dedicated to in Anglic you would call them a saint. In Sagmal you'd call them like a hero or something like that. And Zent you'd say something else entirely, but you don't know Zettel, so don't worry about it. Get the name of it real quick. Where is it? This was dedicated to the Jordani saint Iakar. Because this is a place of luck and psionics. It's just it's not typed out on it or anything like that. It's just, if you're of the faith, you would know. But if you're not, it's the Temple of Luck. If you looked up on any brochure, you'd be like, oh, it's this. It's actually a Jordani, so it's one of the few places where Jordani would be perfectly welcome. Because it's one of their, it's a hero of the Jordani people.
Oh, perfect.
And why do the Aesir revere this person?
So there was a complicated issue where there was various deceit and intrigue among some of the more nefarious of the Aesir and their enemies. Loki was involved because, of course, he was. But came along the Jordani Saint Iakar, who, with his incredible powers of insight, was able to shatter all such lies. But knowing that the Sword Worlders despise prying into the mind as a sort of cowardly way to do things, Iakar actually learned how to communicate this information to the other Seer to kind of to make it palatable, to make it usable information. So it came off as they would give prophecies that were just useful enough that it wasn't cheating in the Sword World culture. But it was always helpful. Iakar was very good at giving prophecies that gave you a hint, but not enough to give up the game.
Neat.
Then Hervor will say, you will probably be fine. We'll know more when we get there.
give a nod at that. Oh, and then so, oh man, so uh Iblis, I can't even say my own character's name. Iblis, he actually does speak Sagmal. So in Sagmal, he's just gonna say it would be an honor to accompany you.
Oh, yay! I can stop using the dirty Imperial language.
Indeed.
Sure, I'll say I said that.
Was that in Sagmal or was that in English?
No, I don't really like speaking English, so.
Sagmal.
Hey, look, the two allies in the previous war don't like the Imperials. Shocker.
Yeah, so I think these are how we can split up.
Perfect.
Where Hervor and Iblafatil heading to first?
Well, first I'm gonna go get suited up, because I am expecting trouble now that the bear said things are going down around temples.
Oh yeah.
So, first place Hervor is going is to the equipment locker rented on this station to put on some armor, and then we're headed to go buy a ticket to go fly out to the probably go handle the temple first and then come back to the city.
Start at the farthest and work our way back.
Yeah.
That's where we're heading that way.
Because with our luck, we would do the stuff here, and then it would be like, oh, celebration's over, ticket prices return to normal before we go.
Yeah. Or like we'll get there and the temple will have burned down already, or...
And where is Tarbin leading Calvier to?
Where is the Imperial Army base located in terms of how close it is to Kersborg?
It is that close. It would be about that close, yeah. Actually, give me a intelligence roll 2d6. Be something like survey or recon would be good if that helped, but I don't think you have those.
Well, I do have survey, but I made it just on a base intelligence roll.
Yep. So you think about it and. Oop. What size of hex are we talking about? Talking terrain, which means this and this. Oh, so it's about there. Just 10 clicks away from the starport. Not starport. Where am I going? Wrong place. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Okay. It is about 30 kilometers out in the water, away from Kurzbach.
And the starport is in Kurzbog?
No, it's its own in Hallen. It's its own star city and whatnot.
Okay, so I think farthest away would be the naval base, and we could work our way back, or we can do, army base, Kurzbog, then up to the naval base, and back down to the star base, starport. I think he's actually BRB'd.
Yep.
So let's see.
Actually, you know what? This actually is a great time to do a quick break and let everyone step away, refresh
Okay.
their drinks and whatnot. So we'll do that for a little bit. So we'll all be right back in a bit.
Okay.
And I am back.
As are we all.
So say we all? No?
So
Wrong
say
game?
we all. That's
Oh.
Battlestar Galactica.
I also realized we gotta go to the Zildani Free Trader first because it's literally right here. And
Darn.
it might not be if we go somewhere else.
You're going to be still in the starport for a little bit longer. I was also trying to ferret out... Well, I can put you guys over here now I remember. That's where you're headed. Calvier and Tarbin. Figure out where you're intending to go first.
Well, Mr. Tarbin, where would you like to head first?
Well, the starport is it's on a whole different island from the capital, and then the capital the army base is about 30 clicks away from the capital. So, I mean, if we go from farthest first, I mean, obviously the naval base is a little bit farther, but we could also do army base back to the city, then back to the starport and up to the naval base. So, it doesn't really matter to me.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, yeah, so we'll head for the army base first. The Tarian diplomatic offices.
You're going over this way.
And since we are going to visit a facility on a military base, why don't we? Our first move should probably be contacting them to let us know that who we are and why we're coming.
We can send out a dispatch, yeah.
Yeah.
Like DHL announcing, UPS announcing themselves, yeah.
Well, I say we contact the diplomatic office first. They can probably clear our way through whatever military checkpoints.
Do
You're
you
saying
happen
you
to
don't
have
want
their
to get
code?
shot on approach?
Do you happen to have their codes? If you do, I can put them in and we can summon them.
Or does Tarbin not have his old uniform? He can just like slip into that and walk on in.
Well, see, this is A, it's an army base. B, it's now a border world army, not Imperial army.
It says Imperial.
Yeah, that's a typo on my part.
Oh, okay.
I forgot that by this point, the ground army switched hands to border world. The Navy,
Well, okay,
the Imperial
'cause
Navy's
then-
still in the air.
Like,
then
when we go-
actually, the case. I was about to say I definitely wouldn't want to go anywhere near an Imperial Army base, but the Border Worlds Army. This is the army that Hervor retired from, because this army belongs to Beater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, that was a
So,
bit of
so
confusion.
technically, you're a retired border worlds army officer, but
Yes. Yeah.
a Marine. Sorry.
Mhm.
if you want to trade that off with us, and we can take one off you guys, that's fine too.
Yep.
Swap the compass rose. Well, that'd be swapping boat.
I mean, the
That's
bear
by
speaks
Oh.
Jordani too, so
Yes, the professor also speaks Jordani, but maybe the professor and the baronet
Where's
can
the
head off to the
Jordani?
Compass Rose.
Johnny is the compass rose.
Oh, he kind of wanted to do that, so
yeah.
Let me swap you, Susag, for the naval base, because I don't know that Hervor ever had any contact with the army.
Sure, I think we can take Susag.
Wait.
Susag.
But
You're gonna
Hervor,
trade
Hervor
for the
was a
naval
Marine,
base?
right?
Yeah, but it's the Imperial Navy base.
Oh, it's an
the-
Imperial Naval base, not a Beater Naval base.
No.
Right.
Because the Imperial Navy is still, that's the client agreement, is that the Imperial Navy still here, but the ground forces are border worlds. So your Marine, the Marines are act in concert with the Imperial Marines. The
Because
Army
really-
is the Army.
Because really, when you're in a position to undertake an orbital bombardment, the army doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Artillery reigns supreme, as the Imperial Navy would say.
Welcome to the Imperial Navy, where artillery reigns supreme and the army don't matter.
The army is something we put on the ground so we don't have to waste our missiles.
Actually, yeah. Or they don't want to blow
I'm
up
pretty
everything.
sure the system has heavy anti-ship planetary mounted defenses.
Well, they
Oh.
did.
Ooh.
So the question remains. Well, the question remains where Calvier and Tarbin are headed first. If you're not going to the army base,
Up to you, Mr. Bear. I'll follow where you lead.
Well, if we're not doing army base, then let's. We're doing the SAG instead, and SAG is in. Susag is in Kersborg.
let's go this way.
Yeah, but that takes care of two birds with one stone, because we gotta go to Kersbog anyway.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just
we can-
double checking. That is where the corporate offices are.
It is, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
So
can-
let's
we can head
start
over there.
there, and we'll wrap up with the Navy base. And yeah, I have my Imperial ID, which I'm sure will identify me at the Navy base as a ensign in the reserves, because I've only been out of the Navy for a year.
And I'm Bill Nye the Science Guy. People just know me.
Hmm.
You are famous.
I am
So-
famous.
We, given how insignificant the cost is, it's well within the means for you to get transit, given the subsidies, and that's for all four of you. The amount of money is so low that it's within your lifestyle, your monthly lifestyle. So, and I'll give you your first month for free, just because. one presumes you paid for this for the first month of your traveling life.
Sure.
So yeah, you're able to grab a flight there. So the first thing we'll resolve is Hervor and Ibn Fatil meeting up with the
A free trader.
the free trader.
And at this point, Hervor's no longer wearing like middle class clothes with some mesh jacket. Hervor is in like a powered armor suit.
Okay, well, Ibn Fatal is still in his nobleman's robes, so no changes there.
I assume I'm vestigial on this mission because I don't speak Ziblifatil or whatever it is y'all speak.
Hang on, it's pronounced. It is pronounced. How do you pronounce this, Corby?
Zettel.
Zettel. The G is
Zettel.
just silent. Cool.
In
Zettel.
fact, Hervor asks, do your people have a language, or do y'all just do the thing with your head?
We do have a written and spoken language. Yes.
Proles
Not
have to speak something.
Not he's not gonna say
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. Well, of course, the proles have to be able to communicate, don't you know? I mean, oh my god.
Yes. No. We do have a written and spoken language. Not everyone is psionically trained in the consulate. Plus, it does make it easier to communicate with people outside of the consulate who are a bit more touchy when it comes to their minds.
That's useful, I imagine. I heard in the Empire, if you use your mind that way, they remove it.
I have heard much of the same things. Yes.
I'll follow along, just following
All right.
the Baronet on his mission.
As you're walking through the starport, you get to the part where various free traders and couriers are docked in the low port. A lot of the places, the big doors are shut and closed, and it says a name and a comm number to call the captain. Usually, if you're like, "Hey, I need to send some mail," well, I'll call up the captain and say, "Hey, I need something special delivered." It's like, okay, well, this is his number. Other ones, like free traders, some of them will actually go to the market to sell, or go into the Star Town to sell there. But if you're in a hurry or you're not really all that eager, sometimes you just drop your loading dock, set up your stall right there and then at the dock. It's cheaper, it's quicker, and you don't have to pay the currying fees as much. At one such port, you do see a Jordani ship. You find the compass rose rather easily, and you see various swarthy complexioned tall individuals moving about, talking with people. Trade seems to be going okay, but but I will say that Hervor, as a person from here, there's not a ton of trade going on at a lot of the free ports to begin with, and you remember when you were a kid that when you came to the starport to buy something, oh man, it was the best thing. It was like a party every time a bunch of ships came down, and then there's this like second bazaar at Helenport. It was going to Helenport was always kind of a blast to go. Like some of your teenage friends, like, you know what? Let's go to Helenport, buy something cool from away. But here, it's like one of those like abandoned mall feels. There are stores that are open, but it's a shadow of what it once was.
Damn Imperials, ruining our starports.
Just to clarify, are we? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna ask if I could. The people in front of the compass rose, they have a stall set up.
Yep.
Can I try to appraise the value of some of the goods? Like just see if this is some good stuff they've got here,
what
or
skill
maybe there's a deal here.
What skill were you thinking?
Int plus trader is what I was thinking.
Trader. Int plus trader. I'll take. Oh,
Because I think trader is what I remember reading about trader was that it's not necessarily used to complete the deal, but it is used to know if the deal's worth doing.
yep.
Yeah, it's the estimate market value, and broker is the sales, I think.
Yeah.
So you want a 2d6 on that?
Yeah, 2d6. They're not going to be. They're not trying to be fussy. They're not trying to be sketchy at all. They want people to buy their stuff.
Then I only fail on a 12. So that's a pass.
From what you can tell, the prices, some prices are too high and others are too low. But when you kind of sit there and you think about the prices, you overhear some of the conversations, even ask a question or two maybe, just to clarify something. And you don't get the feeling that it's not like they're marking up everything to gouge people, and they're not like undercutting everyone around them. It's more like they don't know how to price. Like it's if you didn't know better, you might think they were just picking lucky numbers. So the prices are wildly too high or too low. Like it doesn't make sense.
On something, can I like pick out something that has a super low price and know if there's somewhere nearby that would take that for the actual market value?
You'd probably find something, yeah.
Then I'll say in Samagal to Iblith, I think these are the people you need to talk to, but I'm gonna look at this deal here, and I'm gonna go try to make some money.
Okay, I'll nod, and then just to clarify, are we bringing them like a physical box? Like, are we handing them a package? Is that what we're delivering?
Well, yeah, that's actually the thing no one's grabbed yet. There is one box that you would grab from the first person on that list.
Oh, from the naval base?
Yeah, because they're the one who had it delivered to them, and then they would enter in their code to get their gift out of the box, and then you would take that box to the next person.
Oh, then
You're
aren't we
kidding me.
That's where they're going first. So shouldn't we just wait for them?
Yes.
Do their scene first.
Corby!
I told you the job!
I guess we should have clarified.
I mean, I could just make a deal and then we come back later.
But yeah, you can, let's see. Let's get these tables together. I'm sitting here the whole time going like, when are they going to realize they don't have the package they're delivering? They'll figure it out eventually.
We're wondering about that.
For some reason, I had it in my mind that it was just a place on the starport we needed to stop and pick up real quick. So I kind of assumed we just did that.
How dare you assume? You look around for something that's worth that seems to have that profit margin in it for you. Unfortunately, they don't have a lot of it. Specifically,
That's good because I don't have a lot of capital.
You could spend about 500 credits, and you would get 1.5 in profit. You could grab it from here, walk to the Star Town, find the guy who buys this stuff, and then just sell them that and gain a 1.5 profit.
Yeah, then I'm gonna look at Ivan and say, we can't actually do this until the bear brings us the box. So, do you just want to make some money real quick?
I'm certainly not opposed.
Well, I take that back. Do you want to come with me while I make money?
I mean, I have nothing else to do, so might as well.
Then I'm gonna try to make a deal with this guy.
How much are you buying? How much of this stuff are you buying off them?
All 500. I would buy more if he had it, but 500 is all. 500 credits worth is all he's got.
Yep. Yeah, he'll sell you the whole 500 because you offer it at the value that they're selling it for. So there's no need to broker with them. Like, yeah, sure, that's what you're buying for. That's what we're selling it for. Here you go.
I mean,
you could try to haggle them down if you want.
I could, but that would be broker, which I'm unskilled at, right? Which would be 3d6.
Yeah.
This is hard.
Yeah.
And I'd be trying to roll under 10 on 3d6. If I fail, does that mean the price goes up?
Yeah, because they might realize, oh, it's worth more. It's like, oh, we'll go with this other lucky number instead. Like, no.
Yeah,
and I will say, if you're rolling 3d6, that's where you get the chance to get a spectacular success, which is all ones, or a spectacular failure, which is all sixes.
I'm not going to introduce risk into something that's legit, a foolproof way to make 1,000 credits. So yeah, I'm just gonna give him 500 and he's go turn it around for 1,500 and just make my 1,000 credits without screwing this up by trying to talk him down.
Okay. You buy some stuff, they give you a nice little case, they thank you for your services, and hope you want to buy. If you want to buy more, you're more than welcome.
They don't have more.
Well, they have other things.
Things. But they're outrageously expensive.
Or it's stuff that you're like, I could turn this around, but I'd need to go to another planet. Or, what I mean, it'd be a pain to do. You could do it, but it'd be like you'd have to fly somewhere else.
Wait till we figure out the ship thing, and then I'll be back.
If we're still here, sure. We might sell it all.
Yeah, so I guess we go wander around the starport while the bear does his job.
Okay.
Yep. We're going shopping.
So we go to... you feel free to change the money, because going into Startown, moving from a starport to Startown is easy, as long as you're not trying to smuggle guns or anything. Imagine a Startown is a little city built right around the airport. It's that sort of idea.
Right. I do have a gun that's great for smuggling, but I don't need to, so...
So I'm figuring we can pretty easily catch a shuttle from the starport up to the naval base.
Would my insightful ass remember that we need to bring the package first?
Well, we've got to get the package from the naval base.
Oh, right. Well, let's go then. Fair enough.
Could the bear use his status as a reservist to get us free transport on a military shuttle going up and back?
That would be a social test, for sure. And you just want any old shuttle. You're not trying to get fancy digs or anything. You're not trying to move anything.
No. I could give you social plus streetwise. Because I've been in the Navy and the engineers. I know all this kind of... I know how this works.
2d6. As you're trying to find, you're not necessarily trying to an official shuttle. You're just finding some random naval ensign who's like, "Hey, you're already on your way up. You have some jump seats. Can we just kind of get up there real quick?" Sure, it doesn't hurt him none.
Yeah. Okay. 2d6.
See, now I'm imagining the bear
Oh, yeah.
like as a junior sailor trying to smuggle himself back because he missed shore leave or something. So he just knows where to find the shuttles to get back without questions being asked.
Yeah.
Well, you only stay a bear with money if you don't spend all your money on things like, transport when you don't have to.
We'll go
So yes, I made that roll quite well.
Oh my.
Yeah, you're able to get yourself and the professor a quick shuttle up to the Imperial Naval Base.
Well, it won't be the most comfortable ride, but it'll get us there and back. And
Well, that's all right. I appreciate the effort. The travel up the well, as I understood it, is not very long, so we won't have to travel around in these dinky old shuttles for long.
Okay, just gonna need to just sit right back into the chair. I'm gonna make sure this harness is nice and snug. Don't want you to get bumped around or hit your head or anything like that.
right.
And he starts
Yes.
buckling you in, and this like multi-point harness that practically just ties you to the chair, ties you to the back of the chair.
Yeah, I think Bear can probably do it for himself after 4 years in the Navy.
I'll need some help.
Full extension, to take the straps to full extension to get around me, and then buckle.
But yeah, if you turn into meat sauce, that's your fault, not the ensign's, because he tried
right.
to help.
The naval ensign looks at you, Professor, and says, "You ever been in a orbital jump before?"
Something of the sorts, I suppose.
Okay.
I'm a tough cookie, I can handle it.
All right, then. Pats you on the shoulder. And Tarbin, I won't make you roll this just because you were in the Navy. The reason he asked that question is that orbital jumps, the shorthand for the short orbital shuttles the Navy use,
Right.
They are bumpy as hell when they go through atmosphere because they're meant for space. They're not super aerodynamic, so they are choppy. So the way up and down is rough because that's not meant for. If you have an officer's shuttle, like a proper away team boat.
Right.
That's aerodynamic because the officers have a smooth ride. But if you're just moving stuff, just get the jump. Screw it. So some people, if they don't know, if they have a low endurance, they would have to check. Otherwise, they might smash their head against the back thing, against
Does
the
it look
headrest.
like Calver's restraints are tight enough?
Let's find out. No. He made them too loose. He's not gonna just bump his head. He's gonna rattle around in there.
Can I reach him and tighten them appropriately?
Give me a 2d6 dex check.
Okie dokie. Yep.
Yeah, you kind of you paw about literally, and eventually you tighten all the buckles appropriately. You get the feeling this guy was being a little too delicate because to get it right, it does have to be like really snug. You basically can't move in those chairs. You have just enough room to tap the little emergency thing on your chest so it pops open. Otherwise, you should be not able to move anything but your head.
Right. This is going to be a rough ride. Just hold on.
I've been to Asgard, Mr. Arctos. I think I can handle one gravity shuttle.
All right, here we go. And you hear a poof, and oh god, your stomach just drops into your shoes for a second, and then you feel a sudden jolt to the right as your binds kind of catch you, and this. Thankfully, you don't have to do this for long, but the two of you, are both one's a naval officer, one has been in rough worlds as a field scholar, so this is a feeling you're pretty familiar with. You get the feeling this guy is being a little extra rough just to show off, although you both know that he's showing off the wrong way. A good pilot makes it smooth. This guy thinks making it rough makes him seem cool somehow, which is not how that works, but hey, it's a free ride.
An ensign.
Of course.
There's a reason they're still an ensign.
What do they say about gift horses, you know? Why do I hear boss music?
As the shuttle docks and it opens up, you see the might and vigor of the Imperial Navy as people are just frantically moving around stuff. There's guys shouting this, shouting that, grabbing this, grab that, watch your foot. This guy falls over. He twists his ankle. They pick him up. They haul him off somewhere else. It's just a mess of people. Someone shouts at the ensign, "What the hell are you doing here? Who are these two idiots? You two, get the hell out of my cargo bay. Doors over there." And they start yelling at the ensign a bunch. And a lot of eyes look over at you. A lot of these people look like there's a half second of Imperial naval alertness of, do we have to shoot these people because they're on our base? And then they look at your hips. They see no great weapons. They look at your armor. They don't see any great armor. And they just kind of immediately dismiss you in that half second of blink. Nope, not a threat. Bye. I'm way too busy. I do not have time for you two.
Try and guide Calver and us both through this organized chaos of the naval dock.
Yes, as much as I enjoy attention, I assume this is not the right place for it. Let us go before we draw any more to ourselves.
Who is it that we're going to see here exactly? What's the name?
The name of this individual is... Let me get it for you. Doop. Whoop, did I do that right? I don't even know how that works, but okay, sure. Oh. Lieutenant Adiga Gish of the Imperial Navy.
All right.
Okay.
Do we know what department she's in? Or they're in, rather.
They're in the logistics and procurement branch. So they're pretty close to roughly where you are.
Yeah, if we're on the docks, we should be close by. Let's see if we can find an NCO or someone to ask them. Or, not an NCO, sorry, an ensign. Hey, do you know where this guy is?
Would the bear maybe know the basic layout of most naval bases to kind of try and be able to navigate us from
How
where we
long
need to go?
How long ago was it when you were in the Navy? You served
1 year.
1 year?
Yeah, I served for the war, so I got out when the war ended, so a year ago.
Oh, okay. So you actually have career knowledge for
I have what? Sorry, you cut out.
You have career knowledge. So for every term you serve in a career, you get 4 ranks in knowledge of that career, and it ticks down by 1 for each year you haven't been in that service. So for you don't know a ton about modern day Imperial Scout service, but you do know the Navy because that's fresh off the top of your head.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought you got career knowledge equal to the number of terms.
Oh,
So-
maybe you might be right. Maybe number
Because
of terms.
if it's number of terms, then I have Marine career knowledge 6. But if it's number of terms times 4, then I have like 20 Marine career knowledge of 24.
Which isn't possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's terms then. You're right. That makes more sense. I'll double check
Okay,
that
so-
later. But
So
still,
I don't have.
It'd be +1.
give me intelligence plus your career knowledge.
Okay.
And rough layout. You probably served here during your last term, so I'll knock it down to 1.
Okay, so 1d6.
Yep. Yeah, you probably were there like not that long ago.
Let these move stuff around. Logistics should be over here.
All right, lead the way.
And eventually, whoopsie, I clicked the wrong thing. You finally get away from the intense pressure that is the docking area. Everything just kind of, you're able to finally just catch your breath a little bit.
Mhm.
And you get out of the hustle and bustle of the enlisted areas. You haven't gotten to the areas where there's still soldiers looking at you as you're walking around. But they are, and some Marines give you a look, but it's a look of, it's civilians in an area that isn't too weird, so they're not too concerned. Plus, they see an Imperial and an Ursine, and actually some of these people probably know you. Like, they might know who you are, go, oh, hey, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We're a more motley crew, yeah.
Yeah.
You do have to sometimes admire the brutal efficiency of the Imperium.
So, yeah, let's go to the once we hit the logistics and procurement area, find the clerk. I guess this would be even in the Navy. There's the clerk who you have to get through before you see anybody.
Oh, naturally.
You open up the door and you see a individual there who is. They look Zolomani. By the way, by their accent. Well, they sound Zolomani. Better way to put it, by their accent when they're talking to someone. They kind of look over at you as the two of you walk in.
Do we have to
These
grab a ticket,
motherfuckers.
or do we have to grab a ticket?
You just see them behind a counter.
Okay, let's approach.
Tarbin will smile because the guy's Soleimani and fuck them. Racial memories long, motherfucker.
Yes, hello, good day. Good day.
What do you say to him?
I'll slide over my Imperial ID and TAS ID. Reserve Ensign Tarbin Arctos on behalf of the Travelers Assistance Society to pick up a package from Lieutenant Diga Gish.
One moment, please. Type. They grab what seems to be earpiece, hold it to their ear, then they touch a throat contact. They kind of whisper to themselves. They nod. If you could just have a seat, it'll be right out. Type. So as I was saying, I don't know how it is that we're able, and they just continue talking with the other person as they wait for somebody.
Okay.
Space DMV can be marked off our list of things to do.
Right.
Could be an opportunity to catch up on Imperial news, I suppose. Do you want to check out some news outlets? There should be some around here now.
Actually, you see a few periodicals at a nearby desk. Apparently, people are made to wait here frequently.
I'll snatch one.
They're 6 months out of date.
I'll snatch one. Come, Mr. Octos. Look, they have pretty pictures.
Will the war ever end? Will the war ever truly end?
Right.
Like, wait, what? That's over a year old. Are you kidding me?
Oh, perhaps I can find my picture in here.
Starbursts and
Newsflash.
stripes.
Newsflash: Zodani attack.
Right. So Tarbin will pull out his portable computer tablet and kind of book the back end of our travels down to the army base and then to the city, and guesstimating about what time we'll be arriving when all of us in the city. I'll see if I can't get us reservations at a really good restaurant, or like not like necessarily a fancy restaurant, but a restaurant that has the reputation of being like really good food, like, with incredible cooks, and like one of those hole in the wall kind of places.
I would say social standing at 3 dice. Trying to think of a good. If you have a good skill in mind, I'm willing to hear it.
I do have chef.
I'll give
also
you.
That's right.
I'll
The
give you
Baron
chef.
Chef.
Right. Okay.
I'd give
Social
you
and chef at 3 dice. Okay, let's see how this goes.
For those of you who know more about T5, I am being a lot more loose about skills that you don't have just because it's more fun. All I have to do is increase the dice mod. Make it 3 dice instead of 2. There.
Yes. So 11 against a 14. So I made it.
You go through some of them. The biggest challenge, the biggest challenge for you isn't knowing good places, it's knowing good places that are still open. A lot of places seem to be closed when you look them up. Like, oh, I'll do a reservation for this place. Oh, they're closed. Well, what about this place? Oh, that place got blown up during the artillery strikes and they're still repairing it.
Right.
How about this place? It takes a bit, but you're eventually able to find somewhere to go in Kurzbach.
Okay, yeah, I'll make us all a reservation for that for dinner tonight.
And there are places that say they're really good, like at the Starport and the Star Town. Every Star Town says they're the best in the whole world. That is almost, in your experience, that is almost never true.
Right.
Tourist traps.
Yes.
No one quite makes a meat skewer like those ruffians on Asgard.
Because on every planet, Lone Star says they have the best burgers in the galaxy. It's like, no, that's not possible. Oh,
If they had that made, I'll kind of lick my chops loudly and looking forward to dinner. Maybe with a side glance to the guy behind the counter
Yes, is
while
he
I'm
still?
licking my chops.
Is he still giving us the cold shoulder?
he's just chatting. He's waiting for something to happen. He's chatting with the fellow officer about some naval trivia.
Okay.
It's something about sports.
Let's
Yeah,
see
at
if I
this
can
point,
try.
it's just Navy.
Let's see if I can try this. I'd like to approach the counter and just lean over carefully. I'm sorry. I just got a call from the university. They really expect me back soon, along with my friend here. Do you think it is possible that we get our package now?
I believe you owe me intelligence plus some sort of deception skill.
Let's see if I
Could
have
also
something.
be there's one of the social skills.
Oh wait, I have the cheat sheet over here. What am I doing?
Because I know if there's like a whole chart about like if you're using a command or you're using an inquiry and if
Carouse, query, persuade, or command.
you're- and then yeah, so it'd probably be a
Persuade?
or something.
Persuade or command, yeah.
I don't have it, so 3D.
You don't want to use command unless you have a good fighter score.
No,
Because
yeah, I
if
don't
command,
have.
I think if command rolls fail, you're guaranteed to go into combat,
Because you've insulted them.
What?
or you just straight
Ah.
up made a demand using violence.
Yeah, I don't have persuade, so 3D instead of 2D.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has persuade, right? It's not something you can get a skill in.
You can.
So if it's going off my straight int, I'd fail because my int is a 9, and this is an 11.
Oh, I'm sure they can wait a bit longer. Don't worry. Do you need us to write you? I could write you a
I didn't
ticket for
wanna
being
pull out
late.
this card. Yeah, I didn't want to pull out this card, but goddammit. Do you know who I am?
Oh no.
Not particularly.
Bastard. I don't know how to reply to this. You sir,
Are
you
you?
sir need to educate yourself. Good day.
You can attempt a social roll, 3d6, as he's starting to clue in that maybe you're someone important and that maybe he doesn't want to piss you off.
I'll take that. I succeed.
Oh, hold on. Now look. I may not know who you are, but that may be, he looks at his friend and looks at you, a fault of my common education. What was your name again? I can look you up in the computer.
Professor Calvir Trusani.
Calvir Rusani. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm not... Okay. He looks at you. Looks really confused at the screen as they read your file, and then they look at you, and... I'm not exactly sure I could help you, Professor. Isn't your university on...
I just need that package, son. Faster.
One second, I'll go grab it.
Thank you.
John, could you hold my seat real quick? Yeah, I can do that. And the person trots off. And they shrug at each other like, what's that about? I have no idea.
Remember what I said about imperial efficiency? Sometimes I find it lacking as well.
Eventually the ensign comes back and you see a shiny black cube about the size of a person's torso, emblazoned with the TAS symbol of the starburst with two hands holding it. And you see there's a keypad on the top.
Do I need to sign anything?
Just they press some buttons on the computer and you see a keypad pop up on your side. Just type in your universal personality profile code for signature, and it'll be yours.
A9E9CA.
Ping! And the little flip keyboard kind of flips away, and have a nice day, Professor.
Yes, you too. You might want to hear about the birds and the bees sometimes, young man.
I beg your pardon.
Never mind. Find me if I'm ever teaching somewhere. I'm sure you won't regret it. And neither will your girlfriend, young man.
They give each other a look, and they look back at
And
you.
I'll back out.
As the two of you are leaving, you overhear them. You overhear one of them say, "Was he hitting on me? I think he was hitting on you."
Well, congratulations. You've given them a story to share around the water cooler later.
Armin will say that.
I'm also sure you'd like just sexually harassed a clerk on a naval vessel.
Should I complain about that? I'm not sure if I should. I mean,
Someone has
Yeah,
to
you
play.
might want to get off the
Might
ship
wanna
before he
leave.
thinks about that too long.
Carbon, as they're walking out, will look down at Kelvin and go, "Well, of course, birds are incredibly delicious, and you can prepare them in so many different ways. But beyond the uses for honey, I'm not really familiar on how to prepare bees. I mean, candy, I suppose, if you remove the stingers, but."
Remind me to one day tell you all about it.
So yeah, then let's find our friendly ensign and jump back down to the starport.
I now want to see a scene where like Tarbin is like bought like a package of like exotic birds from different planets and a package of like honey, like
Yeah.
from the home world, like top quality reserve honey. And he's like, okay, now show me what to do with these.
I'm always looking for new techniques.
Ibliftil, you and the major are going back, moving about and waiting a little bit. Give me either 2d6 of your intelligence or 2d6 of your psionics.
Ooh, we're definitely going to do psionics with that one.
Because you might sense something.
Oh boy. I do, in fact.
You're going around, and I imagine the major's looking for another deal if she can score one, and you have some time to be around these Shodani people. They do pay you appropriate rank. They do speak appropriately around to you if you ever interact with them, because the minute you say your name, they're like, oh, we're supposed to act a certain way around you.
Yeah, what are they mostly proles? Are they intendants?
The staff in general are proles. The intendant's the captain.
Okay.
Because they're a ranked merchant.
Gotcha. All right.
So the attendant, and actually you haven't seen the captain at all. That you've been talking to the proles.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which the proles are being very careful how they talk around you because they don't know if you can read their mind. Well, you can read their minds. The answer is yes, but they're not trained to know that. The general sense you get off these people, they seem to be acting very old-fashioned for Zodani. There are certain gestures, certain superstitious numbers. Modern morality's path kind of does away with all that. It's more about one's deeds and actions and contributions to the larger consulate, less so to do with particular saints and heroes and sorcerers and whatnot. That's all like, frankly, any modern noble caught doing that would be laughed out of the room. It's ancient. It's antiquitous. Proles might do it sometimes because they might not be educated properly by their nobility, and that's a failing of the noble. Really, it's not the proles' fault for that.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of odd to see them this far away from home and being on a intendant ship, and still be kind of doing a lot of these old-fashioned lucky numbers, lucky gestures around their stuff.
Oh, that's where their pricing comes from. It's all...
Yeah, because it's green, it should be a high number, not a low number. Because this is blue, it should be odd, not even. It's weird stuff like that people haven't done for over 1,000 years. Like, it's beyond antiquated. And bad for business, which is more important for some nobles.
Uh-huh.
And you notice that you've been, like, on your world, I mean, things weren't going great back on your home world, but, man, they are not offering the same, like, when you go this far away from home, Like, I mean, the nearest Zodani world is just a subsector away, so it's not that far, but, like, man, it is a trip. Like, it does cost you a few jumps to get here. And they've brought, like, there's a reason why the Major can only find, like, something worth, like, 500, because it's all stuff you could get anywhere. Like, it's very common, cheap stuff. It's almost like they couldn't afford to buy, which is weird, because if you're a merchant jumping from world to world to world, eventually you're going to find a world that has, like, precious gems or allotropes or manufactured goods, and you can buy them for cheap there and sell them for way more somewhere else. And a place like this, a former subsector capital, or in a market capital, if nothing else, they should be raking in money. Like, this is the place you'd stop to sell all your expensive stuff, because people here can afford it. And they don't. They have, like, cheap agriculturals and minerals and stuff that the sword rulers could easily get. And they don't seem to find that weird. Somehow they think that's lucky, because it's lucky to have certain items. You may not be a broker, but yeah. Their business sense is... And it doesn't seem like they're sabotaging the console or anything. There's no ill will. There's no fraud going on here. They think they're doing the right thing.
Interesting. I guess in general, just sort of chatting with them, I'm going to ask something along the lines of, so tell me, are you based out of a certain, from a certain planet? Or are you all, basically he's just trying to figure out if they're like, if they all come from one area, if that's the commonality, or if it's like, because they're on this crew, that's why they're like this.
They easily answer there's no role, because there's no reason to lie to someone who's an asshole. They actually all come from the Quirion subsector.
The Quirion what? You cut out a little bit
The
there.
Quirion subsector.
Quirion subsector. Okay. I'm gonna pull out my Traveler's map here. Quirion. Oh, hang on, I found it. Quirion.
Yep.
Be aware that that's where the Ansel home is, and the private thing that we all have access to.
Oh yeah, because there's the planet Quirion right there, and then the subsector is... Huh. So they're the very most southern fringe of the consulate, then. Interesting. I mean, this might require a roll, but is there any sort of... Would I remember any sort of word about the Quirion subsector being a little more old-fashioned?
You could give me curiosity on that. Or
Okay.
it'd be 3d6 on intelligence or education.
Let's do a curiosity on that one. So it's just a single d6 because it's 6 or less. Excellent.
Mark it down. It's now it's one less strong. But you remember reading an article. You didn't think it was gonna be important, but now it suddenly is. And you read a article about Quirion, and you recall there was that was the base of a new faith, or one of the old faiths that kind of resurged. So a lot of that was surrounded by the idea of this sorcerer who supposedly was able to predict the future and lead people to great wealth and prosperity and all this other antiquated stuff. That's not how psionics works. But, you know, if you tell enough proles the right things, they'll do whatever you tell them to do, really. So a lot... They're people who are... They're a world that a lot of the proles... The nobility are more educated now. But a lot of proles are still kind of have that echo even 1,000 years later. Or even more recently, because that's where because it used to be a wider spread church across the consulate, but Quirion was one of the last holdouts of the church, and it's faded more and more away, just because it's not morality path and it's considered the worst case scenario, it's considered a deviant thought, which requires re-education. Best case scenario, it's unseemly to be not of the morality's path as a Zodani, especially as a noble. No noble should be caught doing it. Not if they want to stay a noble. So yeah, the proles are fairly old-fashioned. They still have that echo that fertility and prosperity of cities comes by enriching oneself through various good works to the temple, and through the temple one's government proceeds. And it's sort of like a reverse moralities path, where if you donate what little money you ever get to the government will in turn improve, therefore the overall livelihood of everyone improves.
This sorcerer who could predict the future and make prophecies and whatnot, sounding an awful lot like a certain saint. Of course.
It's around this time that the professor and Tarbin have come by.
Something to file away for later.
Well, we have the box.
Yes, the box.
Excellent.
GM, in any of the activity we saw in the dock section of the naval base, did anything look like that ships were being decommissioned? Like, was that not like, broken apart or anything, but it looked like maybe they were, removing weapon systems from ships and kind of that kind of thing.
Education. I'll let you use your naval experience on this. So
Okay.
I'll make it 2d6.
Okay, do you want me to roll half training, or will training work?
It'd be half training, you're right.
Okay. So, 2d6, that's kind of a long shot. Let us see. Do I have anything else I can argue for? Probably not. Okay. All right, roll 20. Show me what I rolled. Ooh, just made it. Rolling
Oh,
against a 6.
oh man.
It seems like they're reorganizing themselves less into a militant impressment or deterrent, and more, it looks like they're setting themselves up as a logistical center. Like they're trying to make sure they can move as much stuff as possible through the naval base.
Are you cut out kind of know that trying to move as much?
As much cargo as possible, as much goods as possible, a logistical base.
Okay.
Whoops, I put the right in shot. Sorry about that, folks. There you go. So disarming in a sense, but it's more like they were arming up their courier. They're trying to be more
Right.
courier friendly, less artillery friendly.
Okay. Let's see if we can find Olweir and Iplotl.
You're able to find them outside, just outside of the on the low port
Well,
docks.
I know these people are Jordani. I'll hand the box over to Iblifitl? Iblifotl?
Iblis.
Glyphitol. I don't
The
know.
Baronet.
Yeah.
We can just say Iblif.
Iblif. Okay. To Iblif.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I will go back to the. I'll walk over to the stall and
Wanna,
huh?
Like, look at it first?
the box.
What's in the box?
Can we even open the box? Or does it require a code to open it?
That's a code to open on the top.
Oh, okay.
Because it automatically dispenses the goods to
Whatever
the top
it
of the
is.
box if you put in your code.
Wait, so we can't split the goods up, right?
Right, we have to take the box from point to point.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're all traveling together.
Yeah.
Yay! Just as I had wanted.
Oh my god, we wasted 20 minutes on that.
Wasn't a waste though. We got to know each other.
I mean, it also, like, we don't have to have all of us walk into it because, like we said,
I mean, I'm glad
having
we
me,
messed that up because I did not want to go to the Imperial Naval Base.
yeah, having me walk into an Imperial Naval Base was not going to be a good time for anyone.
Right.
Too momentum to hack it. Wrong game author. I mean, they could hack it if they.
Hacking is a skill. You
It is a
just
skill.
don't get any
I
momentum.
don't think any of us have any hacking.
No, I don't have programming. I've got.
Generally, with Hervor, if it's a non-violent thing, it's unlikely I'm skilled in it.
The answer is no. Okay. Well, let's take this box and I'll go walk over back to the stall and ask to. It's going to the captain of the ship, right?
Yep.
I assume. Okay. I'll ask to speak with the captain.
Carbon will go with.
I lean over to Tarbin and I say, they actually have a language, right? They don't just use the mind.
Right. Right. I mean,
That was news to me.
Ursa have language too. Everybody's got language.
I
The
I'm looking
major,
at Ursa like I kind of doubt Ursa have a language. Like that can't be a thing.
the major, how about we go for a cup of coffee or something warm while we wait?
There's actually money to be made over here, so I wouldn't mind going back. These people are bad at business.
Wait, we are? Says one of them.
No,
I'm speaking in Sam McGall, right?
Oh, fair enough. They wouldn't know.
What my colleague here meant, obviously, is that.
I mean, I'm speaking in Sam McGall, so they're not gonna.
Oh,
You sure about that?
I'm not gonna want to speak in Imperial unless people force me to speak in Imperial. Like I resent knowing Anglic.
Well, Tarbin doesn't speak Senegal, so.
Oh, well then I did say it in English.
Oh no!
what my colleague here meant is that we are indeed going to grab a cup of something warm. Come now. There's no need to cause a diplomatic incident. It's our first day on the damn job.
Oh, we have
Yeah,
coffee. We have pre-mates.
Good.
Actually,
Serve us
at
up
their
a cup.
prices, we should just get coffee here.
Serve us a cup.
Teammates.
Serve us a cup, will you?
Certainly, 100 credits. That's way too much for coffee. That is immensely too much. Like 5 credits is good for coffee, and that's a good coffee.
Can I like? I'm gonna say like, you're incredibly bad at being a merchant. Can I like teach you some things?
I mean, I'm on the job right now. I don't think I can afford to teach right now. But if you're selling private lessons, that sounds nice.
Yeah. In fact, if you're gonna be here for any length of time, let me just sell you some private lessons.
Sure. When would you like to meet?
Can I set up a deal with him to like do a like an hour or two basic business course?
Business 101.
Yeah. How to price things relatively efficiently.
Nothing shorthand like that, because basically they're trying. You'd have to set up a time to meet, and they would meet you and stuff to be tutored. They know enough. They know that much. That tutoring takes time, at least an hour, which they can't do right now because they're on the job.
But yeah, that's what I was saying. Later, not literally right now.
Yeah, but they'll pay when the lesson's done, of course. It's unlucky otherwise.
Sure. That works.
What skill you're trying to teach them, or are you just lying to this poor person?
No, I have Trader 1. I assume they have Trader -1. So I'm gonna help even them out there.
You could probably. I would say the honest market price off the top of your head would be about 100 for the hour. To teach what little you know. It wouldn't give them the skill, but it'd be a start. Like it'd be a nice primer.
suddenly I've entirely lost interest in helping them at all. Never mind. Like that's only 1 cup of coffee to them. So
Well, they come in cans, you see, pre-warmed if you pull the tab at the bottom.
yeah, suddenly I want to go somewhere else to get coffee. This is draining.
I know a place. Follow me.
I know a place too. I grew up here.
Yeah. Sure you did, dear. Sure you did.
I've been coming here for coffee for like 40 years.
Sure, of course you did, dear. Now follow me.
I imagine Tarbin is hanging out with Iblith to meet this captain.
Yeah, I'm going with Iblis. That's what I'm going to call you from now on. Is the Islamic word for Satan? Iblis.
All right, cool.
The two of you encounter a woman in a intendant's headdress, as Iblithtil would be able to tell. She wouldn't have a noble rank, but she is fairly high ranked in the social strata.
What is her name?
Greetings, Iblithtil. I am honored to let you know that I am the intendant merchant who has disappeared from the air. Let's try this again. You may know me as Idir Shanzi.
Came again, you cut out.
Idir Shanzi. It's on my name tag, you see.
Ah, sure enough.
I made sure it's an Anglic so, those outside the console would understand. Our pronunciation of our words can be trying, I imagine, for the education of those outside the consulate. Of what assistance could I be to you, Iblithtil?
Well, today we are being of assistance to you. We are here on behalf of the Traveler Society, and we are here to deliver a package. And I'm going to gently set the box on like a free space on. Either like it's gonna be on the ground or like on the stall, just wherever the free space is.
Yeah, there's a little table next to her for big trades and stuff.
So I'll set it on the table then.
She looks at it, looks at you, and just with no roll, you can sense she's immensely puzzled. And then you get the telepathic sense of, are you being coerced, Baronet? Are you in trouble?
I'm gonna respond telepathically. No, not at all. I decided I don't want to say traveling with the travelers. Is there a better way to say that?
Not really.
Wonderful. Okay. But I am traveling with the travelers to gain more life experience so that I may be able to fulfill my role better for those in the consulate.
Ah, yes, this package I'm very honored to get, she says in Anglic. But you sense that she's concerned for you. Sort of like you'd be concerned for a puppy that got lost and is near a truck. But she's trying, you can tell she's trying very hard not to think that, because she knows it's rude, but she can't help it. She seems very concerned for you.
I'm going to send very gentle, reassuring vibes, essentially.
Give me a social standing. Do you have Persuade?
I do not have Persuade, unfortunately.
Persuade's not really a skill, though.
Oh, you're right. It's one of the defaults. You're right. Never mind. It's just 2d6.
Oh, it's just 2d6?
Yep.
What am I trying to...
Yeah, like you...
Is it against my
personal?
It's a personal. You're supposed to like choose a strategy and a tactic, and there's like a whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah, but for shorthand, I'm...
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
You can get in those skills, if I recall correctly.
What is the number I'm trying to hit?
Your social standing, or lower.
So what, 12 or lower with 2d6?
Yep.
Do I even need to roll that?
If you roll 2 6s, it's an auto fail.
Oh, okay. So
I thought that
still
was
need to roll.
3 6s.
3 6s is a spectacular fail.
Oh, okay.
Oh, spectacular fail.
You can't
Glad
can't
they have
auto
that.
fail on a 1d6, but you can auto fail on 2d6, and you can spectacular fail on 3 or more d6.
All right. Well, onwards and downwards. Let's see if my luck holds up. Oh, good.
You get a sense of reassurance, and she kind of Tarbin, she kind of bows at him a little bit in some sort of apology, which she didn't say anything in Anglic that indicates she did something wrong, but okay. Jordani. And she types something at the top. Oh, go on.
No, go ahead. Let her get her gifty.
Sure. She types something on the top of the box, and the flip pad splits open, and then it slides off, and out lifts a brand new headdress for her to wear. And you notice it looks very much the same to the one she has. The two key differences are that it seems to be reinforced a little bit, so that the top of the hat rests a tiny bit higher. Not much, but a little bit, enough that you'd notice. And the gemstone that she has is actually a brilliant ruby, as opposed to the more faint pinkish gemstone that she has. Ooh. Fine gift. And she shouts, she calls to someone in Zettel and has one of her proles kind of take the headdress to put it away in her room and get it ready for changing later.
Tarbin. Oh, go ahead.
She then kind of lightly taps the empty space where her hat was, and then it sinks into the box, and the box reseals itself.
Tarbin will say in Zettel, Intendant, we ourselves may be traveling, get my thing on the map right, spinward soon. Can you tell me anything of what you've encountered in your route here? Where have you come through?
Unfortunately, I came via the Lunian subsector. So I came the long way around that way. So I can't tell you much. I've mostly been trailing a coreward and coming around that way from Quirion. I haven't been through the Darien Confederation. I figured that it would be unwise to go through our former enemy's territory. Some would say there currently are still our enemies, but that's for my betters to decide, not for an intendant.
Wait, she said she was going through the Lunon sector?
The Lunian subsector. So she came through the Imperial side.
Right. So, but she's not Imperial. What was she talking about? What enemies was she talking about?
The Darien.
Darien. She didn't want to go through Darien space.
Ah, I didn't know that the Darians were their enemies.
Darien were Imperial allies during the war.
Oh, duh, that's right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Which, they didn't fight the Darians, right? They fought the Imperials.
Well, yeah, they fought Darien Imperial forces.
I thought the Sword Worlders fought Darians and Imperials, but the Soleimani were somewhere off where they only fought Imperials. Like, it was part of the same war, but I didn't think there were Darians for them to fight over there.
Well, Darians came up into Quirion to try to invade into the consulate to help to poke, basically poking the bear, so to speak, enough to annoy them. But their primary focus of their attack was on the Sword Worlders. But it's like, hey, if we have a couple ships, the Imperials go, hey, could you poke Quirion subsector real quick, see if there's an opening? It's like, hey, we're still here.
My only confusion was like her saying we didn't go through our lesser foes' territory because that would be dangerous. We went through our greater foes' territory.
Yeah, she does not seem to consider the Imperials a consulate enemy.
Yeah,
okay.
We've made treaties. Lunion then heard anything more about the gem mines at Struden?
The what?
Not really. I don't deal in the mining sector much. It's a little too stale a trade. Sorry. Wish I knew more though.
Because there was in the TAS briefing there was the the Stroden Vac Gym mines had an accident, and the rumor was that it was Susag mercenaries.
Oh, right, that thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I am going to trying to puzzle this out. I'm trying to think of a way. I don't know. Maybe being blunt and straightforward is the best way, but I want to ask her because she's the intendant. Why it appears that the proles and possibly her, I don't know. I can't tell yet. Why it appears they're practicing the older faith.
Social standing 3d6.
Oh boy. Okay.
Let's introduce religion into this business deal.
I mean, all right, 3d6, and I need to get under a 12. Doggone. Okay.
You get a sense of offense from her,
Oh.
and concern that you're asking. But she immediately steals her thoughts and says,
Concern as in like, oh no, he's asking, or concern as in why would he be asking?
you can give me curiosity on that.
Okay, curiosity has to be under a 5. Nope.
Ticks down. In the heat of the moment, it's hard to tell, you'd have to roll later, but in the heat of the moment, while you're trying to ferret out her thoughts, she begins shouting at you in Zettel.
Hopefully.
Iblefatil, I may be a mere intendant, but my noble will hear of this. I will not answer any more rude questions like this. Get away from my ship, or I'll call Starport security on you.
Oh dear. All right. Taking the box and leaving then.
Yeah, if it was a spectacular
there
failure,
a,
chat, the guards would have been called.
Yeah.
Safe travels, intendant.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there like a Zodani, peaceful goodbye?
If you're pious, you might say, "May you find the path well." If you're being more generic, travel well, or keep. May you be at peace, something like that.
What was the pious? May you find the path.
May you find the path.
In that case, I will say, "May you find the path," and then.
Oh my god.
I knew that was
I'll
going to make
leave.
it so much worse.
Oh my
I
god.
just didn't want to tell him before he did it.
Oh, I realized. I just realized as I said that. That's my bad.
You're just like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah,
That was not how it was intended.
That's right.
you are religiously backwards, so F you.
You should go to
Not how I
church
meant it.
more, lady. Excuse you? Yeah, she's
You
yeah.
need-
In that
Jesus.
case, just the diplomatic goodbye, just the standard travel well.
Travel. Okay.
And as we're kind
That
of
was
clearing
concerning.
the range of the people who might
The
be
area?
in, I switched to Anglican and ask my companion
Iblith.
Iblif, if what do you mean old faith? What
The as you may have picked up from the major's comments, their pricing. Well, the major might not have known this, but the pricing seems to have been based on the old faith's. How do I say this? There's an older version of the faith, an older church before the path, where holy leaders and sacred numbers and symbols were held in higher regard than now. As a result, they seemed to be practicing that in their pricing. The pricing was based off of the holy numbers, or the sacred or lucky numbers associated with perhaps the colors of the goods, or what the goods themselves were. Additionally, they were some of their mannerisms were more akin to the old faith than the new.
GM, thinking back, does Tarbin remember seeing any signs of the Magadal emblem?
Yeah, I was also wondering that.
Give me a check. Intelligence makes sense.
Just a straight intelligence check?
Might be plus something else.
This is like
I would say intelligence plus streetwise or a
Okay.
relevant theological type skill, which I don't think you have, but
So I need to beat a 9.
How many dice are we rolling?
just 2, because you've been there. You were there. You were standing around for a while. You had time to look
Okay.
around.
Well, I beat it.
Yep, me too.
Not openly, but in subtle stitching in their clothing or in the intendant's headdress. The gestures they made, you get the feeling that it was mimicking that sort of indicating a person who is raising their hand. So they're so no open like a emblem of faith on their chest or anything, but lots of subtle signs that show they were devotees. They were practicing the faith in deed rather than in icons.
They've
Okay.
just come through Imperial space.
Oh, they have.
Well, and one wonders if their pricing situation might not be a signal to others of their faith. They may be selling more than simple trade. The Megatil militants, they may be involved, maybe supplying them, maybe not.
You have a devious
here's-
mind, my friend.
The weapons trade is always lucrative. Gotta find this guy's voice.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we'll find our friends wherever they were drinking the coffee.
I imagine somewhere in the Star Town enjoying a nice drink.
Oh, yes. This is a nice cup of coffee.
Yeah, is there like some like hole in the wall that's frequented by like just sword worlders?
Yes, there would be.
I go there. I take him there.
At
And I
that,
won't be
force.
rude. I won't be rude, so I'll converse in Sagama because I do know it.
when the Baron and Tarbin, the Baronet, and Tarbin get in, the Major and the Professor, you find them in relatively good company. They see the Sword Worlders here. Some of them here know Hervor personally. They're like, "Oh, hey, it's you. Hey, it's nice to see you again. Oh, what are you doing here? Oh, hey, I'll cover that coffee. Don't worry about it." That sort of thing. And then they say, "Oh, who's this?" And when the Professor kind of responds in Sagmal, it's a, "Oh, hey." They actually seem to be these people seem fairly friendly because you're not military. So you are speaking their language, so it's like, "Oh, hey, you seem friendly." In the Sword World, their faiths, if you're a traveler in good spirits and meaning well, you're supposed to be nice to them. So they're being nice to Harvard because she's a war hero. They're being nice to the Professor because he's a well-meaning visitor.
That's lovely.
But you get the feeling that these people are kind of rough about the knuckles, and more than one person in the room does have a cudgel or some sort of blade. So if someone was deciding to be impolite or rude, they would find out how quickly this room becomes violent. You can even see various broken bits of chair and chipped plates and coffee cups that have been caught in one brawl or another.
Yeah, you should have been here last Tuesday. Ah, that was good.
I think I see our friends there. Shall we continue? Shall we continue with business?
Tarbin will have a sniff of the coffee house. How does it smell? Coffee house usually smell pretty good. Smell like the coffee's good here.
You smell a distinct odor of sweat. Just a stale sense of blood. But all of that is blanketed with a soft cover of rich, strong coffee.
Mm.
Knowing the bear, can he tell like the specific variety of coffee?
If you thought about it hard enough, you could probably pick it out.
So yeah, having sniffed that through, I'll duck down through the doorway and go get a cup. Oh, the coffee smells delicious. Did you roast it in house?
Someone stands up in a corner of the room and picks up his blade, and he doesn't look like he's ready to fight. He looks like he's excited to do something, and then the friends around him just immediately very strong grip on the shoulder and haul him into his seat and look at him like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, a bear. Yes. It's an Urson, you idiot. Oh. but I could hunt it. You don't hunt Urson. What's wrong with you?
I mean, if you're Soleimani.
Yeah. What are you, a Zolomani? Jeez.
Yeah, really.
We're civilized here.
Can we get a cup of
Someone say
coffee for our
Soleimani.
friend here?
Oh,
Certainly.
How did it go, gentlemen?
Very well. Interesting. Apparently, we've met our first religious fanatics.
In a good way, I hope.
Well,
Nope.
so I am going to lower my voice, so this is like a table-only conversation. It appears that those traders were members of the cult that was talked about earlier, and they came through Imperial space.
I see. And you didn't mention anything untoward to them, I hope?
Oh, he managed to piss off the captain thoroughly.
There's a better way to put it than that.
Well, but one not nearly as accurately. She was very upset with you, and then your parting shot. Oh wait, you didn't actually say that.
Yeah, no.
I
Yes,
see. I suppose our first order of agenda when we're finished with this is patching up relations with religious cults. Thank you, Baroness.
I'm not sure this one's worth patching up relations with.
Depends if you want to hold a relationship with this cult. Remember, this is the one that's said to be burning Acer temples.
yeah, we can deal with them. Deal with them later.
Yes. Deal with them. Big air quotation marks.
Yes, deal. Hand on space axe.
Tarvin kind of shrugs and takes a sip of his coffee and a big sniff of the aroma. He's like, this really is good coffee.
Shall we depart for our next objective?
Wait. I want to get a couple of pounds of this coffee.
Can I?
Where shall you carry these pounds of coffee?
Can I use world knowledge to tell him where he can go to get it, from the plantation?
You don't even have to roll. You'd know that off the top of your head. It's famous among Galatians.
Yeah, then I don't know, scribble on a piece of paper the information he would need to get there.
We want some of this on the ship.
Consider that this is a tropical world with mountainous regions. This place is a great planet for coffee.
We'll definitely buy our supplies for the ship. Thank you. This is excellent coffee. I will tip well.
You hear some people singing a song of an epic of one of the Aesir, and some people start joining in as they overhear it. And like, hey, and they're all singing along. They're not drunk. It's just a happy song. Everyone's just in a good mood.
I mean, you're tempting me. I'm gonna join in.
Something about Najal and Scalagrim Skull and Fjord.
And how we'll kick the Imperials out one day.
Yeah, fine.
And we'll show those Villani bastards what for.
Ah,
Where did the Villani get into this?
Well, those are the Imperials, right?
I'm gonna sip the rest of my coffee, bid my
Are they?
farewells, and
Both
Ask if anybody wants
So-
to come along with me.
Like, if this little dot on the table is the Sword World, then everyone outside of that dot is an Imperial.
And actually, the Valani and the Zolomani are both Imperials. Among the many, both Valani and the Zolomani are Imperials. There's also other humans as well.
Right, and the current Imperium rose out of the Salayan Federation.
Which is a Valani kingdom.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, there's a lot of lore.
There is. It's awesome. In the literal and figurative sense. You're able to quit quietly. And the guys who say the Valani, the professor, even though there is those lyrics, you get the feeling that they seem to be singing.
Corby, you
cut
keep
out a
cutting
bunch
out.
there.
Yeah, you cut out. Yeah, you cut out entirely.
They seem to be. You don't get any sense of them wanting to pick a fight with you. It just seems to be part of the songs that they're singing.
Naturally, but it's. I would at least consider it impolite to be doing something like this when you have a foreigner in your cafe who has accustomed himself to your language and everything. So I'll politely bid my leave and
I can
ask if-
teach you the song if you want to join in.
I'll tell you to piss off, fucking sword wordle scum. Go back to your goddamn hole. I'm sorry, no.
I mean, really, there's not much difference between humans. You all pretty much smell the same.
Yes, we do still have packages to deliver, or did anyone forget that?
No,
Having
and we've
this-
got reservations at Sammy's tonight.
Excellent. We shall go after we deliver our last package. Something to reward us.
So, where should we go? Where should we go now? Do we want to head like all the way out to the temples? Actually, are the temple and the other island in opposite directions?
It doesn't matter. We can't split up.
Well,
Yeah,
I know. I'm
let's
just like, which direction do we go first?
let's
I would-
pull out the Maps app and make a and put in the places we have to go and
Well,
figure out the most logical way to do that.
Yeah, insight. What's the most logical route here?
If you want to roll your insight,
To wind up in the city for dinner.
Yeah, to wind up in the city in time for dinner so we don't miss our reservation.
Right. Oh, he does have program. Excellent.
I do, yeah.
so check against roll your check against insight.
I succeed.
You get the feeling, even if you got a grav lift, it would take a bit to it's kind of out of the way. So you're actually better off just going to the city and doing something there first, go to your dinner, and then go out to the temple later. Because this place isn't in a settlement. It's like this abandoned temple way off in the mountains somewhere, which even with a grav, you'd kind of have to fiddle around to find
Right,
it.
so we can
Could
we
we-
can go in the other
Could we
things, perhaps.
accomplish all of our things around Kira's Bog before dinner?
Assuming no hiccups, you probably could, yeah.
Sure. I'd
And
say we
if
could
there
go...
are, we just don't do the next thing and we go eat dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say we could go visit Susag now.
Yeah, or like since that's in the city, why don't we start with the army base and then and then go back to the city and do
Sure.
the city thing and the corporate base. Yeah, that way
Naturally,
we can figure it
sure.
out.
That sounds alright. So,
So the
army base?
army base is only 30 clicks out.
Bit of a ride, but we'll see if we can hitch a cab.
Can I try to do along the same lines as the bear did and find a transport that is going to the base from here?
You can attempt using your Marines career knowledge and your social standing on 3d6. Because they're not the same service. They're Army, not Marine. But you might know a Marine way to get to the Army base.
It's generally through an orbital drop.
Yeah.
After bombardment.
or through a fence at 4 a.m.
Yep, that's a success.
You do know from a starport there would be some resupply. There is a army detachment that would be here on the starport somewhere. It wouldn't be in the main starport. You'd have to leave the main building and go to, like, there's another hangar specifically for the army that for shipping, for flying out their stuff on their own private grab lifts and aero planes and so on.
Yeah, then I'll tell everybody, let's go. There's outside the main gate, there's an army hangar. We can catch a ride there.
Alright, swell. Sounds like a deal.
Just don't look too Imperial.
I promise you that will not be hard.
I should have stayed at the university. Well, actually, no. They refused to promote me.
Marvin will light a cigar.
So
Yeah,
the four of you start walking across the fields.
Yeah.
A few of the Starport Authority people give you guys a look, and they notice you're not walking toward the runways or anything like that, or the landing area. So they just note that you're there. They radio in that your movements, but they don't really stop you because you're not doing anything to disrupt business. So whatever. You're going over there. Oh, you're going to. It's a look of, oh, they're going to the army place. Well, unless the army's asking us for help, they don't need. They figure the army can handle defending their own hangar. They'll be fine. And if they need backup, they can totally ask.
You'd think that, but I've seen them before.
Right.
I don't know that they could.
Yeah, I love how the Imperial Navy veteran and the Sword Order Marine both have kind of the same opinion of the Army.
As you walk up to the army hangar, it is. It just looks low tech. Like that's the polite way to put it. It looks low tech for the world. This world's tech level is roughly around. It's in that era, like the 2100s AD or CE, where gravity and interstellar travel were a thing. And that should be the norm, like laser weaponry, anti-grav stuff. These people are using tracks and wheels, and these people are armed with like slug throwers, not laser weapons. Like it doesn't match with the world they're on. It's not like buying a laser weapon would be hard. Just go buy from any weapons dealer on the planet, you know. But
these are like these are soldiers that are. This army is like world based. This is like a local.
This is the local military.
Right. So, okay, so they should be on the kind of local.
Yeah, they're not
level.
part. They're not part of a larger military. This army belongs to Beater, and then only joins with other armies if the border worlds go to war with somebody.
Yep.
But then it's only like they're joining up. It's not like this is a detachment of a larger army. Like they are the army. The whole army.
They are the Beater army, yeah. Which that's why it makes no sense. Like you guys should have laser weapons, because that's the tech level of Beater.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I'm assuming budget cuts and the fact that, like, if you're going to spend 10 years in a trench, why do you need a special weapon?
I was gonna say, what is it with this world and random people being older fashioned than they should?
It's almost like there was a war on that they lost.
That tracks.
I mean, it is common knowledge that it's entirely the Imperial Army's fault. I mean,
of course.
I am willing to give a insight or curiosity roll to answer this, or an intelligence tactics roll to give some insight on this on 2d6 for that last one.
You want to do curiosity then, or?
My curiosity is a 4 right now. I don't think I'm gonna get anything.
I mean, I can roll, and I'm only gonna fail if I roll a 12 because
I'm gonna roll insight then.
Okay.
And I succeed.
Yeah, I also succeed.
Calvier, you've had some tough times in your scholarly life, and sometimes, I mean, the university pays well, especially for a tenured professor, but and a scholar extraordinaire. But you know, sometimes you have to make do with what you have.
It is science fiction.
So you're familiar with having to cut back a little bit when things get tough, but there's cutting back, like using less laser rifles, and then there's teching down. You tech down when you don't have a choice. You never tech down if you have an option. If you can stay at your tech level or higher, you go for it, because that makes life easier. Your weapons hit harder. Your armor's better. The only reason these army guys would be this low tech, teching down like this, is if they were forced to. Like they're either hideously underfunded, or someone is willingly underarming their army, which is, even in your non-military experience, that's irresponsible. You wouldn't do this for a scholarly team. If you had laser weapons, you would arm your team with laser weapons or gauze weapons or whatever. You wouldn't go down to swords and crossbows.
Well, naturally.
For the major, you think about how, I mean, you were in the Marines, so it's kind of different, but you guys, the Border Worlds became a client state and all, and the Sword Worlds lost, but man, you didn't lose that bad. You didn't lose so bad that you went down to slug throwers and bows and arrows. They should have a stockpile of laser rifles, even obsolete ones if they're really that hard pressed. They should have, and if they couldn't, they could always ask. Well, supposedly they could ask the Navy for laser weapons, or the army base guy could literally walk across the tarmac to the Star Town and buy laser weapons. So someone assigned them slug throwers, or they didn't give enough money to the procurement office to buy better guns. So
okay. Do I get I mean, does it seem like perhaps if I actually wanted to buy some laser weapons, this would be the place to do it? Because they're selling off their equipment?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I'm somewhat convinced that they're intentionally selling off their equipment because they don't need it, because Imperial Navy is going to do all the work defending this place.
Well, is it because they don't need it, or is it because, for instance, like the Imperials might be like, hey, so even though you're part of us, we're just kind of we're gonna detech you a little bit.
They don't need to.
No, it's true. The Navy's sitting overhead.
There's no real reason for the Empire to have any concern about this little bit of world.
Even if the Empire was worried, like, oh, if they have normal military weapons, they might revolt. It's like, yeah, but their navy's been destroyed. They can't move from world to world really efficiently, and we already have better weapons than they do at their current tech level. So there's no real incentive for the Imperials to force them. It's probably corruption.
Yes, I was just about to say, Baronet, you forget one crucial fact. We won.
Well, it could be corruption. It could also be that somebody's weakening the army for a specific local purpose.
It could be.
Hey, Corby.
Yeah.
Given the sort of intrigue and nonsense that the good Baronet was up to in his early years, is he getting a sense of, like, how do I word this? Not necessarily corruption, but, like, war profiteering or post-war profiteering? Like, hey, we have all this stock lying around, might as well make some money?
Give me 2d6 on intelligence.
Okay. Looking for an 8 or lower. Of course.
You're not sure.
So, okay. Tarvin's going to look around. Does it look like everything, I mean, in this kind of motor pool area is at the same tech level? I mean, all the army stuff, I mean, including, like, say, tools and diagnostic equipment, or is it?
Everything's tech down.
So, yeah, this is probably not like local corruption where they're selling off their stuff. It looks like this is what they've been given to work with. So if somebody's diverting funds, it's happening at the governmental level. I mean, they're deciding not to arm their army with modern equipment or tech equivalent equipment. That's really interesting. Something's going on there, and we don't know what.
It's almost like this shining, rising star jewel of a planet is a little bit skin deep.
Is there like a soldier
Yeah,
around?
there's some guards standing outside the hangar who are watching you guys carefully.
Then I'll shout out to one of them in Samagal and say, do you have a jump over to the base soon?
Identify yourself. When he shouts that, you see some more guards come over to the hangar door and grab rifles and block the entryway to the hangar.
I'm going to ever so casually slip behind the rest of the group.
Just gonna go over here now.
Yeah, I'll respond back. Major Agentir's daughter.
Give me social standing 2d6.
What number are we looking for here?
7.
Oh no.
Does fame ever come into things?
If they bother to look you up, right now you're trying to impress upon them that you're worth looking up. If you had liaison or something, it would apply, but...
Nope. I do not succeed.
Unless you have a Border World pass, you are to turn around and return to the starport, or you will be shot at.
Do I have a Border World pass?
No, that's something you would. That's something you would have if you're doing government work. And you're retired.
I'm sure we can rent something. We don't have to beg the soldiers everywhere we go. Let's just go back and rent ourselves a grav vehicle.
I kind of look around at them and say in Samagal, sorry, I didn't know this place was guarded by Imperial ground pounders.
I'm going to take several steps backwards now.
So... What the fuck? What did you say to me? And one of them starts rushing at you, and as these soldiers rush towards you, or some of them rush toward Horvor, ready to clobber her. They're not ready to shoot her, because she didn't officially breach the perimeter, but
I haven't done any crime or anything.
You did insult his manliness, as it were, so he just wants to rough you up. But as this battle is about to commence, that will be the end of our first session at the moment. Quick check to see, did anyone use any of their life path skills that we need to mark off?
I did.
No, I don't think so.
I completely forgot to do that bit, so no.
I used 2 of them.
Which ones?
Int plus tactics and int plus trader.
Mark 1 for int plus tactics. That is the one that was most important today. Anything from Tarbin's list?
Used chef, but not in combination with training. So.
Because you weren't cooking and stuff. Yeah. Never mind. But yeah, that is it. That is all for now. Next time we'll be starting off with the combat. We might see our Hiver friend, who the audience hasn't seen yet, who might join in on this fight, but we'll see. But for those of you watching, thank you very much for watching. For those of you playing, thank you very much for playing, and hope to see you all next time.
Why do we have to get into a fight like straight away?